Siri doing stuff? What the hell, Siri? Posting to social media sucks ass. Pain. Big pain. Yeah. And now what? Snapchat? Fuck, I guess so. Snapchat? Uh, who uses Snapchat anymore? No way. Annoying. This one. Just how is that clean? So much gain. The fuck? Off to the races. Where's Lethy's fucking Lethy? Where are you, Lethy? Channel. He's not on. Fuck. What is going on here? All of it. What is going on here? All of it. Dude, Twitch makes this really difficult, don't they? Dude, why? There we go. Here we go. Here we go. There's no Lethy? I literally, he's like one of my only people I subscribe to. How the fuck is this possible? There he is.
So you don't have a way to even know what a constellation.
Okay. Lethe debates.
Actions,
Emmett.
morality ceases to exist as a meaningful concept.
Dude, Lethe is very widescreen, isn't he? Holy shit. Crazy.
Each individual defines morality through personal experience, while
My start.
societal discourse shapes broader ethical norms. These collective agreements then filter
You
into
didn't say it. There's no way you just said that, bro. What's your rising star chart? Fuck it. Okay, let's make you a little bigger, Lethe. Make you a little bigger, for my sake.
social frameworks that guide behavior, eventually forming the foundation for legal systems.
We'll just...
However, these moral structures are neither universal nor absolute, and they are always...
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lower it from the 1440p though. It's crazy.
You are muted, Emmett.
What a perfect time to stop. Just so you know.
Oh, my apologies. Hello, my name is Emmett. I have a YouTube channel that's called it's called
I'm gonna have to make
Count
it lower.
Emmett. I do art stuff over there. I'm a graduate on video game design and art, and I do ethics debates and sometimes some political debates. I enjoy very different types of debates and conversations. And yeah, I'm very happy to have this way with Leith. It's going to be interesting.
Why is it so? I'm gonna go to
Very
Horse's
cool.
stream. Is that all right
And
with
you guys will,
To
I
see if
will
it's
drop that link.
Canyon
Oh,
or something? I don't know. It's kind of hard to watch it from there. I don't know why.
Gore. So with that said,
Debate review. Horse. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
As I would say, you know, like, oh, I wouldn't approach it this way, or oh, this is the problem with this
3 years ago,
argument.
16 hours ago. There we go. There we
does
go.
it seem more likely that it is
Oh God, it's me.
The context,
I don't want to see me.
consensus,
Dude. Dude, fuck your debate, Lethe. We're gonna just jam to this fucking loop forever. I've got the best. Actually, you know what? This is what we need. Right? Right, Lethe? You've no idea. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Thick. All right, let's get into the debate.
at any time, please just say the word, or if there's like a reference and it's
That hurt. That fucking hurt.
5-minute cross-examination in between. We're normally starting on the affirmative, but in very unusual fashion, Lethe asked if he would be able to go first.
Dude, what a power move. What a power move, bro. What a power move, dude. They're like, I'm gonna beat this guy. Okay. I'm not gonna let him sit there and, you know, stack a bunch of sand around and act like it's a fucking house where you can hide the 3 little pigs in.
And Emmett
I'm gonna tell
graciously
everyone right away that this sand is literally made of sand. Okay.
agreed, knowing that means that he also gets to say the last words. But other than that, it's going to be back and forth until we get to the open conversation, where it's going to be 30 minutes uninterrupted. I am going to occasionally be fact checking for my own enjoyment. If anybody says anything during the debate and I'm curious about it, then I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to be doing it on screen. But also, if the debaters want to ask for a fact check at any time, please just say the word, or if there's like a reference, and it's not even
I
necessarily.
like that he's doing that now, but this is difficult because I'm not really. Does this even like really? It doesn't really work, right, Lethe? I'm sorry, I know I paused it already, but the idea of asking for the fact check this way, where you can't see what's happening, I feel like there needs to be some interactive element where maybe the debaters should be responsible for producing it, or like, you know, I'm not, or maybe like there could be like a little, you know how you can move panels and stuff now? You can have like an open one where I don't know if there's like a way to make it like a cache, or like a, you know how RAM acts as like a temporary container, if there's like a way to make it like a universal temporary one where, I mean, technically it would be at the mercy of everyone who is in the call, but that's also kind of hard to get in the call, right? So, and the VDO thing, but I feel like it doesn't have any gravity to it when a debater has like appeals the moderator to go look for it, and you like sit there for 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
Necessarily a fact check. If there's something that you're like, that one Bible phrase or whatever, just ask. I will take a look real quick. I mean, it's basically going to be my job for tonight. I get to just hang out, listen, and support you guys. So, that said, we are going to go ahead and do our usual, because you guys already know what I got to say.
Get some video going here.
Oh,
Emmett has zero clue. I had a conversation with him on Confluence's open panel, and I could tell that he was like looking it up as he was debating me, because we were talking about how the Catholicism essentially has some form of authority, right, over what can be canonized. And that is, Christianity does have a way of saying who can actually canonize parts of the Bible. My girlfriend just died in a video game. You got this. It's a really subtle verse, but I don't know if a lot of people know this. It's, again, not really common outside of people who know what apostolic succession is, right? There is a verse in John where Jesus, like, essentially, if you squint your eyes a little bit, you know, make it fuzzy, it looks like Jesus is giving the teachings of Jesus onto St. Peter. And that is essentially the first apostle, or at least the apostle who's given the mission, who becomes technically the first pope, right? Except there is no first pope, because it was all being created at that time, you know? It's just the lineage of it, though. If you look in John, it says something like, here, I'll just bring it up, actually. Saint Peter, John, Rock, okay? I think it's 25 or something, John 25. It's in Matthew 16. Jesus Christ. It's in Matthew 16. Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, Matthew 16. So Matthew 16, 18. Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning, though. So all of you should know that, okay? You just misheard me. Now, in this chapter here, okay, Jesus essentially says this: Now, when Jesus came, oh my God, really? What the? Why do we do that? Why? Sight, no. Now, when Jesus came into the district, oh my God, it's so small. What's happening? There we go. Now you can see it. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah." That's probably where I got it from. And still others, Jeremiah, one of the prophets. He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then he sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he is the Messiah. So essentially, a lot of Catholics believe, this is Catholic tradition, that apostolic succession originates with Peter because of Jesus saying, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And on this rock, I will build my church. And I tell you, you are Peter." So this is essentially where the first pope comes from, right? And the problem is that not everyone heard this message because the Bible, no one had the Bible back then, right? So there was a lot of disagreements. But I had a conversation with Emmett where he was like, I could tell he was just looking it up, but the topic they were talking about was, does the ecumenical councils, do they have the authority to say that the text is authoritative, or like what text is canonized and authoritative? And I was like, I mean, yeah. Like, so they were arguing over whether Catholicism has the authority. And I'm like, I mean, the Catholics have a answer to this. It's that Peter was given the authority. Like that's, and they were like telling me about the schisms and shit. And I'm like, okay, I know that some people don't agree with Catholicism, but we're talking about Catholics who, you know, canonized what you're talking about. So that's their answer, though. He had no idea that St. Peter and it's called it starts with a P. The Petrine doctrine, if you're familiar with it, Lethe. It's called the Petrine doctrine, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I can just look that up for you too if you'd like. Something like that. Petrine doctrine, the Roman Catholic principle asserting that popes possess the supreme authority over the church and inherited directly from the Apostle Peter. Mentioned that, and he had no clue what I was talking about. So I feel like he was just AIing, which is kind of what I thought was happening here.
All right. And don't forget that I did send you don't forget to click the stream together thing. And
There it is.
there we go. Good evening, everyone.
Yet?
Oh, not yet. I'm getting to.
No, it is Petrine. Like it's it still says Peter, like you just saw there, right? But for some reason, it's called the Petrine doctrine, and then and it's based on that Matthew 16:18, boys. That was so. This is apostolic succession. It's look. See, this is me telling AI what's up, bro. That's what I'm telling you. I look at me. I am the captain now.
Do you?
Hey, Graham.
Good evening and welcome to the. Oh my God, you people! You keep talking at exactly the wrong moment. All right, be right back. Oh yeah, no, Razor, you come in at 8:30, my friend.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
You can sit in the room, but be
not quite my tempo.
And to everybody. All right, let's try this one more time.
That shit was so.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Demilitarized Zone. This is the one stream designed to help you feel better about engaging in hot button issues with people you disagree with. Our goal here is to teach discourse survival tactics, not just farm gotchas and dunks. We are trying to cultivate.
I'm skip past you.
That was okay with.
I'm sorry, Horse.
5-minute cross examination in between.
Horse,
say
I'm
the
sorry.
we're gonna say the left. Razor, you
Horse, shut up.
Ethics debates.
Yourself.
Wait, I thought you were supposed to go
at
first.
any time. Please just say the.
I hope.
Very cool, and you guys.
Because
You did,
morality,
okay.
and they are always debate someone.
Ethics debates and some.
Introduce yourself, sir. Tell us who you are. That was okay with him. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this over
I
to
love your ending lines, by the way, Lethe, where you were like, it was like Angel of Nature or something like that. and I'll let you say it again, but my God, that was fucking beautiful.
You, Lethy, whenever you are
Even
ready to
if
start,
I actually,
please.
I think your argument here, I think you found you put it foundationally in moral relativism, right? And I feel like that was even unnecessary. I feel like that opened you up for someone to argue against moral relativism instead of the prompt, right? But I think it still was a good opening, and it would have been hard to do that, right? But I don't even think you needed to ground it in moral relativism, and also I don't even think you had to you have to disprove God, or even, you know, you can have moral facts and like moral realism and still say this claim is wrong. It's just,
Go
this shit is insane to me. This prompt is so dumb.
Okay.
I think Emmett is self-contradicting in this. Yes, yeah. I think Emmett surprises me. By the way, guys, Emmett surprises me with this cross-X. The problem is that I don't think Emmett actually went on to learn the stuff he was trying to say. He probably used AI, and then, you know, that was it. But the problem here is that as soon as he says a good, like, you'll notice his first cross-X questions were actually pretty good, and then the follow-up, he had no idea what the material was happening. Lethy was just like able to walk circles around him for the first part I saw.
So morality is
Like if you just AI something, you're not gonna know or understand how to talk about what is going on. You can get a good cross-X, but if you can't go further in understanding of the follow-up questions, you're gonna get fucking wrecked, okay?
a subjective construct dependent on sentient interpretation. Without entities to perceive and evaluate actions, morality ceases to exist as a meaningful concept. Each individual defines morality through personal experience, while societal discourse shapes broader ethical norms.
That line also, Testy saw it too. This line right here.
So, morality is inherently a subjective construct, dependent on sentient interpretation. Without entities to perceive and
So that part, without entities to perceive it,
evaluate actions, morality ceases to exist as a
which is such a fucking good argument. You know what's funny though is that the transcendental argument from Kant fits into what you just said. Sorry, I'll turn it down. That good? Still pretty loud up there. No? Yeah, it is really loud. Why is it doing that? It doesn't matter. I'll just turn it down to Ableton. But the transcendental argument, right, Lethy? It actually still fits within what you just said, because Kant's transcendental argument, the way that we perceive a priori stuff, like, let's say, objective truth or objective facts, which he thought were true, in order to do the analytical judgment, the transcendental judgment, it had to be interpreted in the manifold, right, which is your mind, which, funny enough, still fits in what you just said. It was actually, that line right there was like extremely fluid and really fungible. It's good.
a meaningful concept. Each individual defines morality through personal experience, while societal discourse shapes broader ethical norms. These collective agreements then filter into social frameworks that guide behavior, eventually forming the foundation for legal systems. However, these moral structures are neither universal nor absolute, and they are always downstream from the individual's own internal morality. What is considered just in one culture may be viewed as reprehensible in another. Thus, rather than being a rigid or innate principle, morality is fluid, shaped by context, consensus, and the evolving nature of human civilization. This fluidity does not render morality meaningless.
I'm not going to pause it again, even when the nihilism part happens, because I want to let you finish. But, Lethy, what is your position? Do you believe fully in moral relativism? Is that what you identify with the most? I feel like, even though you're arguing really well for it here, I feel like it's not a complete yes, right? Like, for me, I find myself actually identifying with moral realism more, but I can't like convince myself to just like fully be like, like what Emmett here is doing. But I'm curious to see if you identify more with moral relativism. And from this debate, people would definitely think that, but I'm curious to see what you actually believe and to see how, if you argue this just differently, and that's like insane.
Or arbitrary. Instead, it underscores its profound importance as a living, responsive force within human societies. because morality emerges from the interplay of individual conscience and collective experience. It carries the capacity for both remarkable progress.
Anti-realism pill you sometime? Yeah. Hey, Brandon. Yeah, so like I paused it. The rudimentary form of moral relativism, like, John Stuart Mill utilitarianism, is not what is actually contemporary, right? So in the contemporary literature, right, there's like Chang, I think, has written pretty extensively about this in this field. And I think they call it like rudimentary, and then they have like another term for it. I'm fucking it up. Maybe someone else can tell me. But they do. It's a little bit more complex now than just like, wow, like someone figured out the problem with moral relativism at its most rudimentary form. Back when John Stuart Mill fucking wrote that book, right? Where it's like, well, if one culture says murder is good, then oh my god, everyone likes murder now. It's like contemporary moral relativism is definitely addressed that, and I think it's done it well, but there's still like a little bit of a paradox there in a way, right?
And dangerous division.
Or not a paradox, but
throughout history,
it's not completely contradictory like that, but there's a little bit of a problem with it.
We have witnessed how differing moral frameworks have clashed, sometimes violently. When one group attempts to impose its internal sense of right and wrong upon another, from ancient tribal codes to modern debates over bioethics, criminal justice, and human rights, the tension between personal conviction and societal expectation remains constant. Consider how this subjectivity manifests in everyday life. An action praised as courageous self-defense in one community might be condemned as excessive violence in another. Practices surrounding family structure, economic fairness, or individual liberty vary dramatically across borders, not because one side lacks moral insight, no, but because their foundational experiences and interpretive lenses differ. Even within a single society, generational shifts reveal morality's malleable nature. Behaviors once widely accepted gradually become taboo, while previously fringe ideas gain moral authority through changing circumstances.
No, like, yeah, this was a good opening. The fucking, I swear, man, the Angels of Nature line he did, like the last 40 seconds, bro, I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on, bro? What a like,
New knowledge.
That was the most poetic shit I've ever heard.
And evolving empathy. This invites us to approach ethical questions with intellectual humility. If morality is downstream from individual interpretation, then genuine moral discourse requires listening before declaring, understanding context before judging, and recognizing that our own deeply held principles are themselves products of time, place, and personal journey. It challenges us to build bridges across differences rather than walls of moral superiority. Legal systems, while necessary for ordered society, should therefore remain adaptable, reflecting the best available consensus while preserving space for conscientious dissent and future evolution. Ultimately, embracing the subjective foundations of morality does not lead to nihilism. It leads to responsibility. Each one of us becomes an active participant in the ongoing creation of ethical norms. We shape morality through our choices, our empathy, our willingness to question assumptions, and our courage to stand by convictions, even when they swim against the current consensus. In an increasingly interconnected world, this awareness becomes not just philosophical, but practical. It equips us to navigate cultural differences, resolve conflicts, and pursue shared human flourishing without demanding uniformity of belief. As we engage in this discussion today, let us carry forward this understanding. Morality is not a fixed star by which we all must navigate, but a constellation we chart together, always open to new perspectives and new experiences, and better angels of our nature. By acknowledging its subjective roots, we gain the wisdom to treat it with care, seriousness, and the creativity it deserves. I will end my time there.
All right. So then, we're going to go ahead and put that 5 minutes back on the clock. This is now.
Fucking, I need to hear it again, dude. Literally, it's so good.
Today, let us carry forward this, and I will end my time there. Now, by which we all must in uniformity of belief. Philosophical, but practical courage to stand by convictions.
Where is it?
Participant in the ongoing creation of Embracing the subjective foundations of morality does not lead to nihilism. It leads to
So that line, Lethe, just before we go any further. So nihilism, okay. You can actually believe in any morality and still be a nihilist, right? So, like, you can believe in God and be a nihilist, if you think about it. So when you say it doesn't lead to nihilism here, what are you meaning here? Unless you're addressing what you think the other person's argument is, but I am curious to see what you think nihilism is yourself. Because Emmett here does probably think that nihilism is like, literally the slogan from Nietzsche. You know what I mean? Like, just, God is dead, like some stupid ass shit like that. But I am curious to see what exactly is being meant
than
with
walls of moral superiority. Legal systems, while necessary for ordered society, should therefore remain adaptable, reflecting the best available consensus while preserving space for conscientious dissent and future evolution.
Actually, no, they wouldn't be. People accepting the rapture would not be nihilistic, Lethe. They would not be. That is incorrect. So, people who are expecting the rapture have not lost meaning. They have not lost the grounding for what they believe is the meaning of their life, which is to perish so they can go to heaven. That is not nihilistic. Nihilism is when the thing that grounds your values, okay? So that means, like, if God is this is why God is his ultimate question as it relates to nihilism, okay? Because if someone believes in God and their entire meaning of life is grounded in God, if they become aware of the grounding being superficial, that's what nihilism is. Nihilism is when you cannot justify the grounding for why you believe in God anymore. The meaning for why you believe in God is no longer there. So someone who's expecting the rapture is not nihilistic. They are the opposite. They know the meaning. They still have meaning there. They know they're going to heaven. So a nihilist is someone who, let's say you believe in God, you continue to believe in God, but you don't know why God is the ultimate value to you anymore. But you do believe in God still. That is a nihilist. That's what he meant when he said God is dead, because ultimately the actual thing that grounds him as the highest value is lost when you're aware of it. Make sense? Someone who wants death is not a nihilist per se, but people who lose all meaning, you see, if you, like, let's say me right now, right? Like, I have a lot of convictions. I have a lot of what I would say is, I think of morality in a lot of ways, right? I kind of identify a lot with Camus, partly because I think he's a good writer and he spoke to me pretty heavily. But for someone who, like, becomes aware, right? Like, if you've ever read The Myth of Sisyphus, the book is about essentially becoming aware of how absurd the universe is. And what that is essentially you look at everything and you can kind of think to yourself, if you become aware of that fact, you are existentializing yourself, like externalizing yourself, so you can then look at the self, right? And then you become aware of the fact that, well, what is the meaning then? If that is absent, the larger you pin something with value, so the larger the value object is, the more traumatic and damaging the nihilistic pitfall is. Because for people, this is, again, the reason God is the biggest question for Nietzsche, is because God is the highest value of meaning. So when someone who loses meaning for God happens, it's the longest fall, right? And that's the danger in it, right? So obviously someone who loses that much meaning in their life, it's not that they don't believe in God anymore, by the way. They can still believe in God. They just cannot, they're aware of the fact that there's no meaning to why God is the ultimate value. That's what nihilism is. Nihilism is the reflection, the self, existential self, like understanding that fact. And you can continue to believe in God anyway, and it's fine because it's not like you're incorrect. But the problem now is that you're aware of the fact that you cannot justify the value. There's no way to ground it anymore. And again, the larger you make something, the higher the value is, the more difficult it is to survive from the fall. Well, nihilism is, unfortunately, it's not a group thing. It is historical nihilism can be felt like, I'll send you the book, by the way, Lethe, if you'd like. But historical nihilism is something that has happened before nihilism was really ever written about, right? Historical nihilism is where that community kind of feels that same feeling, but they don't know. It is an individual act. Nihilism is, in and of itself, it is a existential self philosophy. Like it is fundamentally tied to the individual, but you can experience it within like a group. So post World War II Japan, like when they knew they were going to lose the war, the emperor for Japan is massive in value for them. That was the god, essentially, right? When the war was essentially over for them, the pitfall from the fact that they knew that there was no meaning anymore for the emperor to, in that way. He may have thought of him still as a god, but there was nothing there to ground him as that anymore. The strength was gone. They were losing the war. That's like historical nihilism, and a good way to show that every individual at a selfish level was recognizing the fact that there's nothing there holding it up. So, but someone who is accepting the rapture, I guarantee you, they're not a nihilist. They think it has a lot of meaning. You know what I mean?
Ultimately, embracing the subjective foundations of morality does not lead to nihilism. It leads to responsibility. Each one of us becomes an active participant in the ongoing creation of ethical norms. We shape morality through our choices, our empathy, our willingness to question assumptions, and our courage to stand by convictions, even when they swim against the current consensus. In an increasingly interconnected world, this awareness becomes not just philosophical, but practical. It equips us to navigate cultural differences, resolve conflicts, and pursue.
Really good, really good. I'm just going to let it play a little bit longer, so I stop pausing.
It is subjective in the sense that it is an emergent property that comes from human consciousness and experiences.
Yeah, who decides what is moral?
Society decides what is moral.
So wouldn't it be collective then?
It is subjective in
All right. Let's examination.
awareness becomes acknowledging its subjective root.
All right. So then, we're going to go ahead and put that 5 minutes back on the clock. This is now your time, Emmett, to go ahead and respond to. Use as much of this as you want to question, set up your own arguments, etc.
Or why are you so much louder, bro?
I'll start the clock when you start to talk.
So when you say that morality is subjective, do you mean that the subject is the one that decides what moral is?
Oh my God, like
It is
it's such a good question. I just paused already. Fucking Christ. Like, Lethe, this was such a good question. You realize that, right? But like, I noticed that it's AI. It's AI made. He like straight up doesn't understand how to continue this line of questioning at all, because he's attacking moral relativism right now, right? Which, in my opinion, doesn't even attack the prompt. And I think you defend it well because you just understand it better than him. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you literally just understand it better than him, and he thought he could just like do like a single AI question and then somehow no follow-up understanding, because if you listen to the way he framed this question, right, it uses a language that he never uses again. Okay?
So when you say that morality is subjective, do you mean that the subject is the one that decides what moral is?
It is subjective in the sense that it is an emergent property that comes from human consciousness and experiences.
Yeah, who decides what is moral?
Society decides what is moral.
So wouldn't it be collective then?
Yes, it does happen in a collective way, usually based on individual societies or tribes or whatever small group. Within 3 people, there can
Individual
be a moral system.
societies? What are we talking about? Are we talking
We are talking about, individual societies, so separate societies. That's
about societies and individuals, or are we talking about individuals as individuals?
Well, if morality were a
I like how you avoided that too. You're just like, huh? Wait, what?
objective thing, then we would all have the same morality, no matter what culture, what society, what tribe. So it is collective.
So it is dependent upon the collective, right? The collective is the one that decides what moral is.
What's funny here is that it's not though, because a collective is made up of. Say it with me now. Individuals who all come together with their individual moralities, correct? And then they can prescribe moral facts in moral relativism. That is a fact. Just because you don't like that people now make the moral facts doesn't mean that they can't do it in this system. It's really interesting to me to think that he, like, it's almost like he thinks that collectives are not made up of humans at that point. Like, it's now a machine.
Correct.
And there is no actual standard of what morality is, right? You said that it's kind of like a constellation.
It's usually decided based on the sensibilities of the society and what the needs of that society are.
It is like a constellation or not?
It is definitely like a constellation.
What is a constellation?
Constellation.
When I heard this at gym, bro, this is the moment where I messaged you and I'm like, I'm just going to react to it on stream because I was like, what? It's a fucking metaphor, bro. Why are you acting like he needs to tell you what a constellation is? It's literally figurative. Like, wait, you should have been like, I think morality is a supermassive black hole at the center of the M87 or our galaxy, Sagittarius A. And it is 4.27 million solar masses. Morality is strictly tied to how big the event horizon is.
As a grouping of stars or events or ideas.
Okay, if you don't know what a star is or a grouping of a star is, can you have an idea of what a constellation is?
Figuratively, you can, correct? Emmett?
A definition of a constellation is something that's arbitrary based on human definitions and language.
You gave him the most fuck you, dismiss textbook answer, bro. But like, you're too nice, bro.
So you don't have
I'd have been like, Emmett, it's a fucking metaphor, you weirdo.
a way to even know what a constellation is in your case. You're just making it up in accordance to your preferences.
Oh, unfortunately, society has given us ways of defining things. So
That's not the question. The question is, I'm sorry.
What's
This
your
is my cross. That's not the question. The question is whether
You are not being an asshole here. No. You're being nice.
or not is constellation just a made up term that means absolutely nothing except what you prefer it means.
Well, in this case, it's figurative to describe how we can use stars to then guide humanity as we've done throughout history, I assume, right, Lethe? And the fact that constellations seem like fixed points, like maps. They're not, obviously. They're actually moving faster than the speed of light away from us. But it is a fucking metaphor. It's just like...
Constellation is a subjective term that is used to define.
He started so well, dude. You know what I mean? He's like, do you think AI insert, subject? Like he used the word subject in context with like whatever the fuck the other thing was. I'm just like, and now he's asking you to physically define a constellation.
Something that we have observed.
Okay, can you observe morality?
You can't observe morality.
You can? Can you please tell me the object that tells you what moral is?
I can tell you what an object might represent to do that. Maybe a star inside of a constellation or something.
It's based on what the sensibilities of society is. As I said in my opening, one thing can be
Yeah.
considered moral
Wait,
by
wait, wait,
one
wait,
part of
wait,
society
wait,
and deemed
wait. You
immoral
said
by another group
observe.
in society.
Wait. We're talking about objects. You said it's an object that we observe, so you have to be able
Oh
to
no, I
sense
didn't
it
say it was an object.
with your
You said,
senses.
can you observe morality?
Yeah, can
You
you
can
observe
observe a
it?
moral act. You can
We're
observe a
talking
moral
about.
act.
Sorry, we're talking about something akin to a scientific method. Okay, it's senses.
Huh? Scientific method? Isn't this like a metaphysical argument here? What are you gonna do with science? How are you?
Base. So you say observe.
I don't know either, man.
Can you observe morality? Can you have access to it physically?
Okay. If I know Emmett here thinks that objective truth exists and that morality is objectively defined by God. And if someone does a moral act in line with that idea of his, wouldn't that be observation of someone doing a moral act? Or is he like arguing against himself?
No.
Okay, and so it's a morality would be observed in accordance to the preferences of whatever the group collective is.
I mean, you can make it a preference of an individual. We could make it a preference of an immaterial individual. We could make it a preference of a god, and this question is still there. I mean, Euthyphro, literally 2,000 years ago, posed this question, and unfortunately, it is impossible to answer right now. Even if people think they want to answer it, Euthyphro doesn't answer it in the way that people think it does, right? Euthyphro doesn't actually give an answer. He only shows the problem, right?
Is not the
But
subjective,
that is
right? It's
the truth. Like, it's still a problem.
about the collective.
I mean, why does it? How do we say that like God's preference isn't just what's happening then? You know what I mean? Like that's really the problem.
Say that one more time.
So the observation of it would be observing a thing we made up in accordance to the collective that we have, right?
Okay. Well, it's got the collective is made up of what again, Emmett? An individual. So it's got to start with an individual, even if it is a collective. Now, the moral truth within moral relativism is formed by the collective. The moral fact here, I guess, within the moral relativist framework, because you can have moral facts inside of the moral relative framework. They're not objective, in the way that we would think of moral realism that's like mind independent, right? But
No, not by what you just said. It would
Hey,
be
Donna.
observing actions, not observing morality itself. It's not an object.
Actions, yeah, but the actions that we're looking at, we're looking them to the prism of this social construct. We build it up.
The prism? Yeah, I guess that's
We
fine.
made it up, okay, and we decide in this build-up idea whether it's good or bad because of our collective experience with our, pairs.
Is he arguing against the prompt now? Lethe? You could just be like, yeah, I mean, and then that's how they get morality. And then what is the prompt here says you can't be moral without God. It's almost like Emmett's helping you say, oh, thanks, Emmett. Yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yes.
you say
Yes. Okay. That's it. Thank you so much for the pro.
Yeah, we had the same thought. I'm like, wait a minute. So, are you making the moral relativist argument for him right now? What's going on? Like, why don't you just try and say how it's wrong?
Source radish.
All right.
He doesn't. Oh
Now
my
we're going to
God.
go ahead and go over to you. 5 minutes on the clock for your opening. Use as much as you'd like, sir. Start it up when you're ready.
Man, there's not a pig within fucking 100 million miles of me, I think.
Okay, so whenever we talk about when we see it directly with him, he says,
For your opening, though, Lethe, a little bit of cross-ex, okay? Do you think morality is discovered or created? I did write down just a few things just for fun. The nihilism one was the biggest one, but we do. I was being hyperbolic. Clearly, come on now. I mean, Muslim. We discovered it. Okay. So when we discover these things, does that mean that the moral relative framework is discovering, as in we have to find, not a made up morality then, right? Or could you say that we're finding a mind independent objective truth? And I know you said later in your opening, you said shared human flourishing, right? And that's just implied as good, right? It's inherently good. And I want to ask, is this good because society says it's good, or is it good because biological evolutionary things, which is kind of mind independent in a way, isn't it? So are we creating the moral truth here, or is this just us finding a moral realist, an objective truth that flourishing of one's biology, or let's just say the evolution, flourishing is good because it's mind independent? Well, societies, we can look at observations in cultures, right? And they tend to align with the idea that shared flourishing is good, correct? Well, kill is a human construct, right? I'm thinking more of like the idea of shared human flourishing. Is that an objective truth and implied not through the fact that cultures find out that it's good for them, but it's something a priori? It's not an action, so killing is an action. Because if it is discovered, right, that shared human flourishing is good, then it's not really created by collectivist moral relativism, isn't it? Yeah, but we discover the fact through instead of create it, correct? It's almost like discovering the stars and the constellations. You have to work together to tune how you can find those stars, but once you do, we've discovered those moral facts, but we never created those stars, right? To use your own analogy against you. The star existed there before. I don't think discovered is what you meant to say earlier. I think discovered is probably the main problem if someone wanted to address what I'm saying. Because I feel like the truth is that because you just said we can't agree on what flourishing means, there is no such thing as a star in a constellation. But we can superposition one on what we think it might be, right? And in that sense, we'd be creating a star. We wouldn't be discovering it. We'd be creating what we think it should be.
morality is subjective. And then he contradicts himself by saying, well, morality is not actually subjective, it's actually collective.
If someone calls you racist for saying that the housing system needs to be fixed, okay, Captain. Sorry, I'll I had some annoying people try and annoy my fucking Discord, so I had to like do stuff with it. But yeah, give me a sec. I'll put it in chat. If someone is calling you a racist when you're trying to talk about like, you know, fixing structural problems, I would probably say something like, if we let people come into France and we don't have options that are, or we don't have structural frameworks that can accommodate them properly, we are actually doing an immoral thing. If we don't know how to get jobs programs done so we can get these people jobs or assimilate them properly, then we're not helping them. That's probably what I would say to them. I mean, there's going to be a certain amount of people who, okay, if you're talking about illegal immigration, my friend, I have looked this up as well. There's not that many. I know the dinghy stories, okay, but I wouldn't focus on that because that's really what's going to make someone make you look stupid. They're going to call you racist, but they don't know why. But the truth is that story is not that true. I've already looked up the numbers. It's actually only like 10,000 per year. The majority of every immigration in those countries is the real problem for you. So I wouldn't focus on dinghies and illegal immigration. It is not a problem for the countries. 100K is not a problem for your country. The problem is the immigration in general. So don't give someone an easy way to make you look like a racist here. You can use the actual data that's relevant. That is not a good way to argue this. That's something called fundamental attribution error. Don't do a fundamental attribution error, my friend. I would not do that. It's definitely a category mistake there. Fundamental attribution error is when you attribute, okay, or when you apply an attribute that you think can be extrapolated into some statistical data that looks like that's part of the population. So a good way to show this would be homeless people. Okay? When you hear someone talk about homeless people, what you end up hearing most of the time, and when you read news media, okay? Like if I just did this right now. You see this headline right here? This is morally wrong. I'm just going to say that out right now. Because homeless man here doesn't mean anything. You understand? But what's happening is there is an attribution error going on because now, over time, people are going to attribute fatal stabbings with homeless people when being homeless has nothing to do, realistically, with stabbing a 72-year-old man. It's not that hard. And I can tell you why right now, okay? Even illegal immigrants must spend money. They must purchase cars most of the time. They must use energy. They must buy food. They must have waste. They must get a job. So you're wrong. We actually have a lot of ways that economists can accurately approximate how many illegal immigrants are in locations and the country. The problem is we don't know the exact number, but it's not hard to approximate a very close number, man. People have to piss. People have to poo. People have to use lights. People have to live somewhere, okay? It's not like they're hiding out in the literal ground. You know, they still have to live. So it's not different. The UK does not do this differently. People who overstay on visas, we know where they're at. They have to buy food. They have to, okay? We just don't know their address, my friend, but we know they're there, okay? That's not a problem. We can approximate where they are. Okay? Even if they're in overcrowded houses, the amount of energy used within the house grant, we can see, wow, why does it look like the shower runs or there's water being used that would signal 10 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment? I wonder what's going on there. Why does it look like the waste that's coming from this apartment complex or this construction is more than what we would expect? These are all ways in which we determine who is living somewhere. And you want to know why? Because if you don't have the proper amount of plumbing for people who don't, for people who are unaccounted for, you have problems. Okay? If you don't have enough food for the people who live in a city, you will know. If you don't have enough, places to live, you will know. I'm agreeing with you. I think the UK took way too many immigrants. You asked me how to avoid being called a racist, and I'm trying to help you by using the data that you can use to your advantage. I would not use the dumb dingy thing. It's not a problem. Even if it is something that should be taken care of, it's not going to help you argue whether or not the asylum process needs to be fixed and France needs to fix its fucking immigration. Because that's the real problem. All of the people they took in, they're not going to be able to get jobs for them. They're going to be very bad, fucking living environments. And that means they're not really helping them. So why would we take more when we can't even get jobs for the people we've taken in? That is your argument, okay?
What they mean is morality is in accordance to what we prefer. We, as in me.
But illegal in this case is not really a problem for you. It should not happen, but France does try and stop this from happening, right? Now, the real problem, Captain Jack Sparrow, is not the small dinghy boats for you. The real problem is the culture shock from letting in too many immigrants that they cannot handle legally. That is your problem.
First, because I will say that it's subjective, but the moment that
I'd probably just tell that person that they're stupid then. The truth is that modern monetary economies cannot just have open borders, or else everything that they enjoy, their wages, their way of life, would die. Borders are intrinsically linked to wages within a country, so it's not racist to want to know who is coming into your country, especially if they're refugees, and it's not racist to want to make sure that you can take care of those people when they do come. I'd probably tell that person that these people aren't going to be homeless and not get jobs very easily. Are we helping them then? So that would be my argument against that.
try to extract whether or not it is actually subjective, it's not. It's collective now. Why? Because it's all about power. All I care is about actually force or power, and all they really are meaning by this idea of subjective is that they experience it. So if whenever I talk with people as subjectivists, one of the things I ask them about is the sun. Is the sun is objective or is it subjective?
Did he just ask you if the sun is a fact objectively?
And they will mostly tell you a wumble mumble of things, but it ends up being
I'm pretty sure, Lethe, that you would probably say, yeah, the sun exists.
objective because they have something that they can observe outside of it. With morals, they have a different kind of problem because this idea of morality comes from what is good, and good is a subject.
Okay, what does that have to do with the fucking sun? What is going on, bro? Wait, what does that have to do with whether the sun objectively exists in the sky?
Objective object, right? It's not. It's something that is mind
you're okay.
dependent. It depends upon a mind.
I'm watching a debate between Lethe, who's in the chat. He's a friend of mine on the debate little panel I do. And I'm just giving my thoughts because I'm an autist and I don't know.
So it is dependent upon the subject. It would be a fallacy of authority. Why? Because we're saying I am the one that decides what good or bad is. And
Okay, so let's extend this. Fun. It's going to be real fun. So why do we just stop with like the God? I mean, is God doing a fallacy of authority, or is he just like the being of nature? The little dribble that he mentioned a second ago, as soon as you start trying to make someone ground what God is in the way that he's talking about, you will get something like this. God is the essence of my soul. It's like a fucking freshman in like an English class answering like the teacher about what does this passage mean? And he's like, God is like literally the tendrils and connective tissue of the soul, and it's deep, and that's what's going to happen, right? So why is he just sitting here and going, I'm going to stop it here with the authority thing?
when I ask you, well, why should we believe you? Why should I, as a different subject, believe what is good in accordance to you is actually good? And then they shift immediately.
And then you look behind you and you go, I'm going to believe him. Skepticism gone.
Well, it's not about
He doesn't even exist. Okay, no, he could exist. I'm
it's
not
about the
anti-religious.
collective. That's why we have laws. That's why we decide. Even though a second ago it was supposed to be subjective.
Okay, well, laws are not moral, always. It used to be the law that you had to return a fucking black person who ran away from slavery. What? Is that objective? What are we talking about?
So now it's collective. There's the first contradiction that we can find in his argument, but it's not the only one, because even when it comes to the collective, you ask them, well, if the collective decides what moral is, and you have two different moral standards for two different groups of people, which one is correct? They will tell you the one that
My God, bro. Lethe. I'm going to send him Utilitarianism by John Stuart Mill. I'm just going to be like, are you stuck in this guy's time frame? He was alive in like, what, 1680, dude? At least, again, research the contemporary stuff. Like, this question is not that big anymore, okay?
I prefer, because they don't have.
So 50% of Somalians that don't have work is negative for the Somalians, though, right? If they're coming to this country to try and avoid a disparity, right, then the community that you live in needs to make sure. It's almost like this: if you only have enough food, okay, for 10 people. I'm going to use an analogy here, okay? Don't turn it on. Welfare is not being abused here. If you just said 50% of the Somalians don't have work, how are they abusing the idea of welfare? I'm just going to check that right now. How is it abuse? Aren't they definitionally the people who need it? Well, they don't have jobs, my friend, like you just said. That's what welfare's for. How is that abuse? It's like definitionally what it's for. So you can find a job and not like, fall out of... Okay, a second ago you asked me, how can my community take responsibility for this? And if this is the line of questioning you go with people, you can't just like ask, why am I being called a racist, right? Yeah, but that's not the Somalis' fault, is it? It is the country you have right now. So let me give you my analogy, okay? If let's say you have, let's say you're going to have a party later. Or how about this? You're going to go on a camping trip, okay? And you know that you have enough food for only 5 people for 5 days, all right? So you plan this camping trip. And then you bring 15 people. Is that okay? What's going to happen? when, you know, you're like, well, I don't, they said they wanted to come, and, you know, I felt really bad because, you know, they wanted to come on the camping trip, but you only brought food for 5 people. Is that an okay thing to do? Correct. The UK cannot accommodate. That's why 50% of them are unemployed. So if you take in more, you are essentially not, you're doing a bad thing. If your country cannot properly assimilate, take in, do jobs programs, okay? That's not good anymore. You're not doing a good thing. You're like doing a bad thing. Well, one, there is such a thing as too many immigrants, right? But they're there already. So I'm sorry, but this is where accountability, I'm big on accountability, okay? So this is where, like, you can't really blame the Somali anymore, okay? What needs to be done is communities need to look for, it's going to be really difficult, though, man. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the countries took in way too many immigrants. It's going to be hard to, like, assimilate them and do jobs programs and make sure that they can show up without, like, phones, and show up to these meetings and show up to these temp agencies and sign forms. And, you know, it's got to be streamlined, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's fucking hard when they can't even speak the goddamn language. So it is definitely not a smart thing to let in 5% to 10% of your country's total fucking population in 1 year. And the argument that, oh, I feel bad if we don't help them is not a good one here. It doesn't make you a racist, okay? That's what you need to tell people. Think of it this way, okay? I want you to think of the incentive here. There's no way to, I'm pretty sure you're wrong on that one, man. A lot of these people probably don't want to go back to Somalia, bro. It's in the middle of a civil war. Every day they wake up and they wonder if their family's going to be beheaded, dude. You're not serious right now, are you? That's great. I don't care. I want you to understand that that's not a problem on, like, a structural level. If you know someone, report them. You know, that's wrong. The point is, if you think about a person, okay? A Somali man who comes to the UK, he wants a job, right? Like, do you think he just doesn't want a job? He's going to make more money if he gets a job. Correct? Disability is not fun, man. Even though it looks like it's fun for them, his incentive actually is to get a job. He'll make way more money. So it's not that Somali men are lazy, and, you know, some of them may very well be lazy, man. But the point is, if you can find jobs for them, they will take those jobs. But he doesn't really understand the language. He doesn't know how to walk into a place or establishment that needs to hire someone. And he's also going to have a rough time, because if you're in the interview and, you know, the coffee shop guy, the teacup dude who owns a teacup fucking shop is like, what's your name, man? And he goes, Somali, spits out Somalian. Do you think he's going to get hired? So, like, it's a fucking lot of money, and you have to do a lot of work to make sure you can find places and ways in which to integrate them. Because if you don't, you end up with all of them unemployed, because there's no way they're going to get that job. If I'm a fucking teacup guy owner, I'm not going to be like, yeah, you can't even speak English. I'm going to put you right at the fucking cash register, bro. Like, that's not happening.
I have an actual idea of what more.
So it's definitely, it's going to be a hard process, man. One, you need to stop letting so many people in. And again, if you're asking me how to overcome someone who's doing the whole, but I feel bad, and that makes you a racist thing, you should probably just let them know that we don't have the resources to accommodate them. And what's actually bad is letting them, you know, not have jobs and, you know, live like this. We're not helping them. That's not racist. That's me being real. Okay, that's probably what you should say to them.
Morality is, or where to come from. It's just a construct that was made up and has been sustained by.
Grant, I'm talking about just the language, dude. He can. The Somali man can speak, Grand. He can speak Somali. He just can't. There's a disconnect, an incongruence between the teacup owner guy and the
made up ideas. So is there anything good or bad in that idea, in that kind of ideation? No, there's nothing that is actually good or bad. In order for us to have access to good or bad, we need to have a standard,
and somehow I'm gonna appeal to that guy for it, even though it's kind of his subjective, immaterially being subjective.
actual thing that we can call upon that says, hey, this is good or this is bad.
So the organization in this case, Grant, should be the state. The state should organize temp agencies and find locations in which Somali men who are looking for work can assimilate quickly, efficiently, and effectively into the country. Because guess what? Individuals are not going to know who in the entire UK can speak Somali, but the state might be able to figure that out. And then they can, well, would you hire this Somali man? There you go, Graham.
We usually, when it comes to the ideation of it, we have different ways to go for it, but we need to have something that is transcendental, something that can have universal properties. And we need a mind because it's mind dependent.
He literally made the tag argument. Why did he say he did not make a tag argument at the end? I'm going to lose my mind.
That will have that capacity of having these kind of concepts that are mind dependent and universal for us to even say, hey, this is good or bad. Otherwise, good.
Okay, Graham, you keep sidetracking me, Graham. But Graham, I just want you to realize something right now, okay? I'm going to make this very clear. Do you think that, 100-year-old Somali communities, that the generations after the first ones, do you think they really understand the culture of Somalia still? Do you think they're like assimilated? And do you think they speak Somali very well to the point where they could talk to someone who's literally from Somalia? And then third, okay, it's fine if like there's been at least 5 Somali people there for 100 years, but like how many actual Somali people are we talking about, man? If I look up total Somali people in the UK right now, if it's less than like, 1 over infinity right now, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay? Because that would be not a... No, Captain Jack, I know there's more now. It's just No. He said historically, Captain Jack. He said there is a century-year-old Somali community, implying that somehow these Somali men will assimilate well. But in 2001, there was literally 1 over infinity of Somali men in the UK. So all of the Somalis who are here are like first generation. Oh yeah, times 100. My bad. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Which is still not a lot. Not enough. If you were going to take in again, 300 or 200,000 Somalis or 400,000 Somalis over like a 5-year period, that's a lot of Somalis for not a lot of Somalis living there, right? Like that's the problem. It's not going to assimilate that fast.
Good or bad is not actually a word that means good or bad. It just means what I prefer. Or
Well, what about God's preference?
in his case, what my group prefers.
What about God's group?
So it's interesting for me to see these kind of ideas because the debate in and of itself is, can we be moral without God? And the answer is, if you're talking about having a justification for morality, no. If you want to have like this imagination, this imaginative idea of what
Is God not an imaginative idea to us? He may very well exist, but we do only have to imagine him, correct? Isn't that the same thing?
good is, oh, I imagine it to be good because I say so.
Dude, the irony here is fucking it's literally burrowing deeply into my fucking cranium.
So then maybe you can say that, but at that point, aren't you exactly the same thing you would be attacking?
Let's take a walk down Numbers Road, guys. All right? One of my favorite books. This book, by the way, in Numbers, all right? Numbers is fantastic because it's literally a book where part of the Torah, right? Okay. It's a book where the scouts of Moses, after returning from Canaan, right, went to Moses and said, hey, they're pretty advanced and kind of technologically better than us, and there's more people. I don't know if we should invade them because God did tell Moses, you need to take back Canaan, right? That's your land. And then Moses went to God, and then Moses goes, hey, man, my scouts came back, and they're like, I don't know if we can take it. And you know what God does? He goes, fuck you. You should have listened to me. Go to the fucking desert for 40 years. Fucking literally, you are going to wander. I want you to wander for 40 years. That's what Numbers is, okay? It's just Moses and his various tribes being sent to wander for 40 years because God got mad at them for not slaying the Canaans faster. And I just want to know if this is not an imaginative moral idea right here, okay? I'm serious. So we have various offerings. We're talking about offerings to the Lord on the tabernacle, right, which is built of certain fucking material, you need for each ox and lamb, blah, 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 blah. And randomly, and I mean fucking randomly, this is why Numbers is very weird to me, because it has no narrative. This one is fringes on garments, right? Okay? This one is various offerings, and then we'd have this slapped randomly in the middle of these two. Penalty for violating the Sabbath. When the Israelites were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses, Aaron, and to the whole congregation. They put him in custody because it wasn't clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, the man shall be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him outside the camp. The whole congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him to death, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Fringes on garments, like what is not imaginative about what we just heard? Are you fucking kidding me? Moving on, fringes on garments. Like there's literally a moment, okay, in Numbers where God like literally goes, "Hey, bring everyone to this tent." Okay? Bring everyone to this tent. I'm going to do something. And because this congregation this little group, tribe or whatever, a part of Moses' congregation did something wrong, God tells everyone to show up, and then he opens the fucking ground, splits the earth in two, make like earthquake-wise, like movie-wise, swallows them in the earth, and then closes it back up and is like, yeah, that's what they get. Like, very not imaginative, if you ask me. He must have been getting too big of sticks, like what if he needed a walking stick? And I guess the moral code, the objective moral truth that we can't live without this is it's fine because you shouldn't have picked up sticks on fucking Sabbath.
Whenever you talk to one of these fundamentalists, oh, it's the sky daddy.
Again, I'm not anti-religious, guys. It's just like, come on, man. Come on.
Thing they imagine.
I don't think that God can exist. I think God can exist. It's just we're arguing with the most imagination. In fact, one of the Bible's best attributes is how imaginative it is, especially in the Old Testament as it relates to killing people. Okay?
The thing they thought, whatever, they don't have any reason to believe in that. But I don't have any reason to believe in you or your society or think that you have any reason to tell me what moral or good actually is.
Well, this right here gives me plenty of reason to kill someone for working on Sabbath. So, can someone tell me, I'm going to follow his stream. And then if he ever decides to do any work on this day, I'm going to fucking copy pasta this right into his fucking chat and be like, hey, man, what's going on here? Are you failing your, what's going on here?
Right? So in all, what I'm saying is we don't have access to what is good without
You need to stop streaming right now, bro. I'm going to call God on you. All right? He's going to fucking open up the goddamn ground, swallow you in your computer chair.
having this idea of a transcendental mind for us to have a standard of what things are, right?
So is the standard because God says so, or is the standard because God has a standard? Well, unanswerable, obviously, but nonetheless, the buck stops here.
Just like I asked when it comes to the constellation. If I don't know what the stars are and you tell me what a constellation is, there's no way for me to actually know what you're talking about.
He's not so he's not even thinking of the constellation figuratively here, right? Which is really bothering me. He's like he is literally going like, I see an observable star, a literal fucking star. And he's now arguing the constellation argument with literal, like, stars. When your entire argument was completely figurative, is a complete metaphor. That was kind of unique and honestly really imaginative, Lethe, about the fact that stars were humanity's guide for much of history to find and flourish in a way. Okay? Became a map, figuratively. Okay, it was literally a map, but it was mainly figurative in your argument, because we're not fucking caveman. But somehow the Geico caveman rolled up into this debate and just decided to tell you that, ugu gaga, like, I'm fucking losing
When you
my
say,
mind.
oh, this is good, and I ask you, well, what good is? And you say, well, I don't have a standard for good. How do I know you're talking about something that's good?
Except you gave one. You gave a standard for good. It was just, you came to it relativistically. That is a standard for good.
Good at all. And with this, I am.
It's just not a mind independent in your argument, a mind independent, objective fact about, inherently from the universe. But it is a standard. That's an assertion. It is a standard. It is a fact, a moral fact within the relativist framework.
Sitting there 30 seconds of my time. Thank you so much. Well, one last time, sorry. Thank you so much for Horseradish to hosting the debate. You better hit that like and subscribe to him. And thank you so much to my opponent for accepting the debate.
Cheers.
Dude, go Golthian.
All right.
Go Gothan.
So we will go back open to this. Lethe, 5 minutes is going on the clock. This is your time for cross-examination, sir.
Dude, why is Horseradish just, he's always so much louder.
Go ahead and use it as you.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
If a person stands
Not quite my tempo.
did a good
Mhm.
thing happen?
It would depend upon their society, right?
I'm
Yeah.
asking you.
Oh my god. Why can't we just like answer questions in good faith, right? Like if you don't want to answer a question, right? You know what I mean? Like all of us do this in some way, right? All of us act in bad faith in some manner. That is a fact, right? But like I feel like you should try your hardest to really not do that. And I mean, like, it's an active process for everyone. I have to do it when I debate all the time, consistently, continually. If I don't want to answer a question, I force myself to say something like, it's not relevant, right? Like, that's what you don't like do that, bro. Come on. It's so annoying to me.
The belief of God, something bad happened. Yes.
Okay, so in a world without God and a person throws a
And
baby off a
Lethe
cliff,
just fucking rolls right through it. He's just like, I don't. You think you can hit me with that? That's probably why you dominated me in the last debate. You're like, this went right off my fucking massive delts, bro. Get the fuck out of my life.
did a bad thing
Mhm.
happen?
I don't know. It would depend upon the
So-
society, right?
The way you answer that could be bad faith. You're correct. No, like, I'm sorry, you're not correct. You're not incorrect or correct. You didn't make a claim. I'm just saying it would be incorrect to answer a bad faith question with bad faith.
I'm asking you.
I'm telling you, it would be dependent upon the society.
Because X-Rocks, if someone's trying to muddy the water, okay, the whole point of muddying the water, which is kind of what he did, he just really, obfuscated whatever the fuck is going on. If you answer in bad faith, you are doing what muddying the water is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you jump in the water.
If there is no God and
And
there is
get
no
muddy,
standard of what
so
good
don't
or
do
bad
that.
is, the society, which
That's
is
why Lethe's response was so good, because it's not, if you know someone's doing a fallacy, right? Knowing a fallacy and pointing it out in a debate is not how you address a fallacy. Okay? What Lethe did there is that's some Superman shit, bro. That's what you're supposed to do. He literally went, I don't give a fuck, and just like went through his questions still. He's like, went right off this delt, bro. I just did dragonflies. So he didn't go like, you're muddy in the water, right? Which everyone does every now and then, but like the best way to counter like bad faith argumentation or fallacies is not poindextering like you're doing a composition fallacy. It's knowing how to interact with each individual fallacy.
collective that decides whether a thing is good or bad. They will be the one saying if it's good or bad.
Are you a member of society?
I am a member of society, yes.
Dude,
So
you see that?
he-
He forced him. He literally was like, you are answering my... He like Jedi mind tricked them. Bro. You can see Emmett because he's looking around, he's trying to do like these annoying, little dismissals, like a bunch of red herrings. And then Lethe's like, you are going to go through this cross-X right now, okay? I have questions.
You get a vote in what you consider is good or bad in society. So I'm asking you, in a world
Well,
without a God,
yes, in
do
this
you
society,
think a bad thing happened?
in this society,
Oh my God,
I
bro,
have-
this is domination. What is happening? That was metal, dude. That's all I'm gonna say.
have a vote. But if I was in a different society, like a monarchy,
He already gave his answer. Now he's doing the, yeah, but like look over here. Okay, this is a much longer one. And if my prediction, or I'm gonna give a prediction, Lethe is gonna be like, once again, my delts are too big. Like,
Wouldn't have a vote, and I would still have my interpretation of maybe what is good or bad, but I wouldn't have any justification to say it is good or bad. It would just be a thing that happened.
So you can't collectively say
he's like, most of that was just filler. I heard what I wanted, but I still listened. But
what your opinion is in regards to an action that's being done.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter my
You're
opinion.
incapable.
It would be
No,
would
it
be a
matters because I'm
collective.
asking
So
you. I asked what your opinion is.
again, it wouldn't matter my opinion. If my opinion is bad, but the collective decides that it's good, the
well, have you thought about how you're wrong?
collective is the one that would grant the right for people to throw babies off cliffs.
I mean, they could come to that moral fact relativistically. Correct. Technically, I just want to be clear, guys. I said this yesterday, but I'll say it again. So, a big part of the Christian Bible, okay, especially the Old Testament, Jews really like to talk about how the Israelites were different from the surrounding tribes, which they really weren't. But Israelites are different from the surrounding tribes because of what? Human sacrifice. And the truth is that the Bible is quite literally, okay? Quite literally steals a lot of the writing from tribes and, historical communities and identities, right, groups that did do child sacrifice. They just changed some words to say like animal sacrifice, correct? Now, he's advocating for a God that, thinks that's the morality that we're going with, right? Biblical morality, all that kind of stuff. And his rhetorical device here is that somehow a community is going to say that sacrificing children off a cliff is somehow a good thing, right? In this hypothetical community, which is technically a true statement. In moral relativism, they can come to a moral fact that it is a good thing to sacrifice children off a cliff. Now, I'm going to make this sound really stupid very fast, okay? Is the entirety of Christianity not built on the fact that God fucking sacrificed his only firstborn fucking child? Is that not child sacrifice? Treated as a moral good thing. What's going on there? What is going on there? That is literally the same thing. He was his firstborn child. That's what I meant. Is it change it, by the way, if somehow, technically to God, he was a child, by the way. He's only a grown man to us, if you think about it. But I can't really say for sure that's true, right? I have to be careful there. But that is sacrificing your firstborn child. That is a morally good thing. In fact, the entirety of Christianity, which I'm not going to say is wrong right now or say is, incorrect, or I'm not going to shit talk it more than what I'm trying to point out the inconsistency here, okay? I mean, he's advocating for a being that literally did what he said and used rhetorically. God sacrificed his only firstborn child, and he's trying to rhetorically make Lethe look dumb by saying that a community could say it's morally a good thing. But the whole idea of this is fundamentally tied to the fact that God thought sacrificing Jesus, his only firstborn son, was a morally good thing. That's the story. To me, it's kind of dumb.
Like they're doing right now with abortion, for example.
Now we're getting, okay, so bad cramp Gramps. We're trying to justify this now, correct? A hypothetical community that comes to the conclusion that throwing babies off of cliffs could tell me that, well, they represent the weight of the harvest and this is the offering to make sure that all of us don't die. That's what they have to do. So this is why it's not a good argument. Because the truth is that we're talking about a moral fact, an objective truth, mind independent. That's what he's claiming. He's advocating for moral realism. No, it's a good way to, if you're doing that, I don't mean to be mean. It's just the process now becomes one of like defending, justifying things that we're not talking about the actual argument anymore, right? If someone tries to go on to justify that it's uniquely positioned to be some reason, you will find that in any way you can, right? You will literally get what you need. You will make it up. We are really good at that. Whenever we need something to make us feel better, whenever we're doing something wrong, we will fucking find out how to make it not wrong. You know, if we cheat on our wives or something, you know, people will go, I mean, you know, she really just didn't really pay attention to me. And maybe that is true in a way, but like we are really good at telling us lies, okay? Telling ourselves lies.
And you think abortion is good or bad?
I think it's bad, but society thinks
Okay,
it's good.
so that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to that
You're
opinion.
dominating.
So you have given a metric of what you consider good or bad. Now,
No,
what do you ground that?
I have a good reason to believe
You're forcing
that
him
there is
into
such
tag.
thing
You're
as-
literally forcing him into tag right now. Oh my god. No. You are forcing tag right now, aren't you? This is wild, bro. And I at the end, bro, I heard him say I didn't make a tag argument, but this is 100%. You're like, tell me your tag argument, please. Ground this right now. I know exactly what's gonna happen.
You
good or
ground it
bad
in.
outside of me. If there is no such thing as God, it's just my preference. I would prefer babies not to be killed, but it doesn't mean anything.
Oh no. Oh, bro.
So subjectively, you would rather babies not be killed. So what is the thing
Yeah,
you
subjectively.
ground this opinion in?
I would ground it to transcendentals. I would say that a mind for something to be universal, so something to be good, universally good or bad, for example, babies thrown off cliffs be universally bad, I would need to have a mind that is able to ground that universal concept. So I need a God in order for me.
Dude. Oh my god, bro. I'm dead right now. I'm so dead. There's no way he. How do you not recognize what's about to happen to you, bro? This is literally what just happened. All right, I'm gonna give you the video format right now. Okay. Are you ready for this? I hope you're ready for this. Bro, come here. Come on. Oh my fucking lord, bro. You're like, please tell me how much you want to do
To
tag.
be able to say this is bad.
What God is this? What if this is a God that likes babies getting killed?
Yeah, this is outside the
So
scope of the
Your
debate. We're
opinion
Is it though? Dude.
is
talking about whether or
contrary
not
to the
God
God.
is necessary or not.
Well, yeah, you have to show me that your God grounds these morals that you hold.
He does. Actually, Lethe, remember, he does. He literally sacrificed his firstborn kid.
No, I don't. I just have to show you that they're a God, well, a transcendental entity that has the mind of a God. I mean,
Said it was morally good for the best of humanity to sacrifice his own kid.
in all but name, maybe it's necessary for good to even exist.
It was necessary for humanity to be forgiven.
So what you're telling me is that your morals can be aside from what this God deems good or bad?
I can have my preferences, but that's not morality, right? Because good doesn't depend upon me. Unless you think so. If you say, hey, Emmett, you are the one that decides what morality is in all senses. So let me ask you all of the questions of the world when it comes to morality
You're
so that I can follow
entirely
it to the letter. Then
entitled.
No, bad cram Gramps. What actually happened there? You're actually, it's not you. It's Let's Chief. He's actually just stupid, and I just need some.
yes.
He's quoting a Will Ferrell movie right now.
You're entirely
Why
entitled
would I
to
be?
deem
And
certain
he's just acting like every other, autist person is gonna understand.
actions moral or immoral. You deem abortion to be immoral, even though society thinks it's moral. Am I wrong?
Well, you deem it to be immoral too, right? Because you think throwing babies off cliffs is bad.
Dude, okay, now that I've already described how the very fact that God sacrificed his firstborn child, right? Like his firstborn kid. Every time he says this, it really should hurt you, right? Like it hurts me every time where I'm just like, okay. I guess he has never read the New Testament. A lot of people who advocate for religion sometimes I feel like don't even read the New Testament. It's really weird.
I asked you a question. I would like you to answer it.
Okay, could you ask me the question again? My apologies.
I'm saying you consider abortion to be immoral. This is your moral system. It goes against society's moral system. Therefore, you have a different moral compass than other portions of society.
Yeah, but I have a good justification to believe that that morality is even accessible.
If he says God, once again, remember, Exodus quite literally says the fetus is not a person and is worth less than a fucking slave and is worth not even a desired and designated amount of shekels. So that's the only time it's ever mentioned, guys. So what justification are we using besides my favorite one? Those fucking vibes and those fucking fifis, bro.
So it's not
The
about
fucking vibes and the fiefs, dude.
my
Can
preferences.
you
It's
demonstrate
about
My vibes and my fiefs.
my
that
duties.
justification? Can you demonstrate that
Yes, we
justification?
can go through the. Yeah, of course, I can go through the transcendental argument if you want.
Is there a transcendental argument for abortion that I don't know about? Is that one called the transcendental vibes and my transcendental fucking fiefs or what? What is happening?
Me too.
How does a
Wait.
transcendental argument demonstrate what the moral system is?
Oh man, I thought you were gonna repeat me.
Because we need universality in order for me to say this is good or this is bad, so that
That's not a transcendental condition argument. It's not even remotely close to satisfying the necessary condition whatsoever, like at all. Okay, you need at least to satisfy the condition, you need a deductive argument that is both valid and sound, and simply saying universality is really deep and needs respect is literally not that.
everything in the instances of throwing babies off cliffs, it's universally bad. Otherwise, it's arbitrary. It depends upon the society I live on, or it depends upon my preferences. And
Well, God's preference says sacrificing children is fine. Again, it hurts every time he says this, dude. I
if you're
cannot
talking about
believe he's going to
preferences of
continue.
my society or me, those things that we consider to be good or bad are not actually good or bad. It's just a synonymous for the preferences that we have. So
All right.
we don't have access to good or bad.
Just so you gentlemen know, I'm
Dude, Lethe's like, I don't. Usually, someone else who's not talking gets like an extra 10 seconds, right? That's usually what happens here because, you need to address what the other person said. But I think Lethe did the very correct thing here of just going, dragonflies were done. I'm going to show everyone why this is literally not penetrating a single skin cell on me right now. Fucking the delts are looking at me. He's like, I don't need to say shit, bro. He's like,
keeping going. But if you both decide that you've found the corners of the argument, you have nothing else to say, let me know and we'll call it and move on to. Forget that if you have anything that you need looked up, I am here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't demonstrate the universality of these morals or where they come from. And
Well,
people,
that's your
even though
claim.
this opinion, well, no, this is your claim. You're saying you
No,
can,
that's
yet you
your
haven't
claim is
done
that I
so.
cannot demonstrate it. I can
Okay,
demonstrate it
demonstrate it.
logically.
You did not just get him to continue to talk about tag, correct? Is that how did this man say that he did not have a tag argument at the end? There's no way he's literally about to be like, we're gonna tag again. Yeah, but that was punishment, Grand. So that one, that one right there is God. You see, the God of the Old Testament, Grand, is actually, remember, it says, I'm a jealous God, I'm a vengeful God. That God is perfectly okay with doing unjust things and not good things. That's the justification there. They deserved it. It's punishment, right? But in the case of Jesus, right, that one's especially bad here because Jesus has done no such thing, and it's his firstborn child, an innocent in a way, right? And it's an ultimate sacrifice. It is literally saving humanity. It is definitionally saving humanity. It is sacrifice at its core, which is what sacrifice means, right? So this is not a sacrifice here. This is quite literally God punishing, right? So that's the difference and why I wouldn't bring up the, the plagues, the 7 curses or whatever.
Okay,
No,
so
demonstrate it.
now we're
Show me
yeah,
the
show you.
tablet or whatever it
The
is
tablet.
where these universal
Show
morals
me your golden plates.
stem from.
It's a logical demonstration. We're gonna go through an argument. What are you talking
It does.
about?
If that's what you need, go right ahead.
Dude, you're literally like, please, once more, tell me the tag. Please tag me again.
So,
Duck, tag.
would you agree that we're talking about mind-dependent concepts, right?
Yes.
So we don't have the object of it. I cannot show you the good as an object in reality made out of atoms, for example, right?
What? He's not even doing the tag argument properly.
If you need, go right ahead.
My brain just
Okay.
broke.
So, would you agree that we're talking about mind-dependent concepts, right?
Yes.
So we don't have the object of it. I cannot show you the good as an object in reality made out of atoms, for example, right?
Correct.
I like it, dude.
Mhm.
Okay, Lethe, please explain. Please explain. Did you actually just go, that sounds really stupid, but I think I should let him continue here because he's going to keep doing that. Is that I feel like that's what you just did. He literally just said that good is materially made up of atoms.
The good as an object in reality made out of atoms, for example, right?
Correct.
Dude, that's the little pause there is why I asked that. You're literally like, where is it? Dude, no, I need to hear it again. I'm sorry. Fuck, my thing just. My stream might crash. Hope it doesn't. Oh. What if I do this? Will this work? No. Okay, my stream might crash. We'll find out right now. Okay, we will find out. Give it a shot. Okay. Sorry about that. My audio interface, when it does this and I have to reconnect it, literally some of my computer and OBS just goes like, no, you can't do that. What the fuck am I? Oh my god, how deep is that? That's so nasty. Fucking Christ.
It's just whatever he prefers that is good or evil, right?
Say that one more time.
If there is no universality, if there is nothing in a true form of an action being good or evil, it's just whatever the subject prefers. There is no trueness of good and evil. It's just dependent upon the subject, right?
But there's a definition of good. So yes.
It's a definition of good dependent upon an accordance or an agreement on the preferences of collective.
No, it's a concept.
This is really showcasing the fact that if you are going to use AI to prep, please read what you need to do to understand the topic. For fuck's sake, bro. Like, you can't just, say things that AI tells you and then expect someone who has debated this argument quite a bit, which Lethe has. I mean, I have a different opinion on this, okay, Bad Cramps? AI is no different than what Google searches are, okay? It's just interactive, all right? It's actually far better at finding... Well, you just simply don't ask it to make arguments for you. You don't ask it to do that. You don't ask it to create things. You don't ask it to tell you what to do. Okay? It's like a Google search. You need to tell it what to do. Okay? So if you ask AI, okay, if you make instructions for it to be like, topic is evolution. I want to understand evolution. I would like to know the foundation, the fundamentals, the history of argumentation behind it, the contestations, and then counter arguments. I want you to compile me a list of academic sources, rigorously checked, in addition to secondary sources for me to read. And then you go read those things. You do not say, tell me how to argue against evolution. That is the difference. Well, that's because it's illegal for it to do so. Right? So, something about academia, right, guys? Academia is really closed off. It's one of my it's probably the biggest critique I have of what a lot of the right would call the left, which is, communication with the public from academia. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of truth to the idea that when, people we sometimes would call pseudo-conservatives or conservatives in general say that academia is like this insulated ivory tower. That is not like a lie. Because if you want to go look something up, you have to pay institutional for institutional access for each paper. That's fucking dumb. Okay, that's fucking dumb. Especially when AI doesn't even, academia doesn't even make an effort at all to communicate any of the ideas that need to be discussed. They just, it's not like their job, they're researchers, but I actually think some accountability needs to be put on academia for not communicating anything. Because the reason people like Jordan Peterson are popular is because the one thing I can't say about Jordan Peterson that isn't fucking extremely negative and how he's a fucking weirdo who, fucking literally casts magic spells when he's making arguments. Like, that's literally him. He just fucking, you know what I mean? But the one thing I can't say about him is that he does not genuinely speak to the general public. He tries really hard to do that, and he does it fucking well, at least. And, that really, begs the question here, right? it seems to me that people want someone to talk to them. Like, there's tons of people who are looking to find the information and learn. And if you want to know anything from like an academic perspective, you have to be like a fucking computer wizard. Why? Why do you have to be an autistic weirdo like me to go find the academic information, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that it is illegal for AI to go to like an institutional paper and take the paper and then give you the argument. That's why AI is always like lackluster. So what you need to do if you're using AI is you need to open up like a project source or a project folder and go to the sources. After you do the reading list thing, like I said, once you get the reading list in full, I don't steal anything. I get. Okay. I go get. Okay. I go to very, very legal places and I find what I need. You know what I mean? Like I go get it. Like for this topic, just for fun. Okay. If you want to know where to read for this, for tag, Van Til is a good place to start, right? There's a bunch of books. Okay? A bunch of books you can read for this. If you want to understand him, right? Here's one. Look, we have Tag, The Transcendental Argument for God. This one, essentially, if I'm not mistaken, uses Van Til's structure and people like frames, the continuing, right? So AI is not going to be able to do this. All right? So what do you need to do? What do you need to do to get this done? Well, it can't steal the book, right? It can't steal Ian Thompson's fucking book and then plagiarize the whole thing for you. So you have to do this. You have to go get the book. And you have to go fucking read this book. Okay? Or here's the thing. Another misconception that people have is you don't need to read the entire book. I'm sorry. It's not a narrative. You're not reading fucking Dune or something like that, okay? Most informational books, you read chapters and then you come back to them. And then sometimes you read them full. Sometimes you decide to stop reading them. Sometimes you look for what you need in them, right? It's a fucking textbook. It's like you wouldn't go to chapter 5 to understand chapter 1 limits in a calculus book, right? You wouldn't go to antiderivatives to go be like, I'm going to go learn about fucking limits. That's fucking dumb. So you get what you need, and you need to go read it at least. So you can take whatever book you want, and then you put it into AI, and now AI can actually give you what you need from it if you want a summary or whatever. But you got to make sure you read the damn material as well. And you can do dialogue with it, but AI can't pull from it until it knows that you own it, which I do, obviously.
We don't all
but
think
is
the
that
same things
universal
are good
concept?
or bad.
Is
No,
that a
it's not a
universal concept?
Good is not a universal concept.
The concept of, you said that there's a definition. Is this definition universal?
The definition is understood by everyone that speaks the language or understands the language. Yes.
What about the people that speak a different language? Would they have access to good or to this?
They may
definition of
have a
good?
word for good. I assume they have a word for good, or at least a concept of good.
That fucking noise.
And this
There are
concept
things they
is
prefer and things
universal,
they
or
don't
is it
prefer.
dependent upon the collective?
Leafy, how many times do you get him to talk about tag? Or him to just say, I never had a tag argument at the end? Like, what is going on?
It depends upon the individual.
So each individual has a different concept of what good is?
Yes.
Yes, each
Yes,
individual
they
has a
do.
different concept of what good and
Okay,
bad are.
perfect.
Emmett, you do as well. Literally. I've heard you say that Catholicism is cool in that the ecumenical councils are not that cool depending on which one it is. I mean, would you say that that's kind of like your opinion on like which ones are good? Some people say that they're all good.
And it depends upon what they prefer, good and bad be?
Yes.
So there's no actual good thing or bad thing? It's just the preference of the people?
To the individual, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So if that is the case, then there is no actually good or bad. It's just, a preference thing. I prefer this thing because I think that I like it. And they don't prefer it because they think that they don't like it. They don't have access to good or evil. It's just that in your case, you think of it as a word game. We say good or evil because it's a word that we think can be fit into thing.
Lethe, did you listen to a word he just said? I tuned out, and I feel like I could still answer this, but by just going, continue, please. Elaborate. Because what the fuck is going on? What is happening?
But when you're talking about universal concepts of what good and evil
Right.
actually is in the worldview that I have, that means that there is a justification for me to say the actions that you're taking are against a nature, are against what good is, and there's an objective fact of good. That's the difference between you and me. I don't want to talk past each other.
I'm wondering, do you think anchovies are good?
Bro.
They're irrelevant.
They're irrelevant. So you don't have an opinion
Yeah,
on
eating
They're not irrelevant to SpongeBob. Anchovy.
would be
things that you
yeah.
eat.
The thing is sustenance for the body
I'll
would
tell you what's a moral truth and a moral fact. A SpongeBob, bro. The Krusty Krab has one of those, dude. It's fucking
be good
anchovy
in some
tsunami.
cases, but it's not we're not talking about the terminology of what actually good or evil is. We're talking about whether or not you're eating
So-
it, I guess.
In all of the objective nature and your access to that objective nature, you can't tell me what you think is good or bad.
No, I can tell you I can tell you what is good or bad, but I can tell you what is actually
Why?
good or bad.
Why can you tell me what's good or
Because
bad?
I have justification.
Lethe, he's in attack mode now. He heard something.
From what?
I have good reason to believe
Anchored.
Give me
That's
your
something-
reason.
Anchored in, bro. He's like,
What is
bad.
it? What is it?
It's God. God is the reason.
oh God. Oh God. It's a tag argument. Well, it's easy. You start with God, you end with God, and then you get God. I am Alpha and I am the Omega. I am the beginning and the end.
What God? Explain, demonstrate the
Oh
God.
my God. I don't need to tell you which God because this is out of the scope of the
Bro,
debate. I just
kinda
have to
do.
tell
Bro, I don't need to tell you shit because he's the beginning and the end.
you that
You
is God
kinda
because
do.
you need to have a nature of universality for good to be a thing.
Okay, then let's say it's the demiurge.
No. Wait, Lethe, you said okay there? I mean, you might be coming at it a different way than I would have there. Because I'm kind of a dick. Again, this is a modal jump problem right now, right? He's literally just going, So, because I think a certain way, I'm just going to say that literally the universe must, like literally, must be the same at its foundation as how I just think. Because I have thoughts about good. And that means that I must now, like, literally make the jump to fucking foundations of the universe, metaphysicality, grounding. They must match what I think. Like, it's just such a massive fucking leap that you cannot do. Because truth is human brains are dumb. We're literally very weird. Okay, consciousness is very weird. PTSD exists, like you can straight up have so much anxiety that you can't even speak. Why? Does that sound like something that can accurately give us the truth about the universe? I could wake up tomorrow and be too depressed to stream, like the way that we feel and our thoughts are all imperfect. So why are we acting like we can just fucking boom, like it's a key on like a keyboard, you know, like I'm playing a song, you know, and I'm like, it makes sense, you know, dun dun dun, and you're like, yeah, that works. Yeah, it's the same thing, you know, because it technically is, right? When you hear it apart, that's not how the fucking universe works, though. Okay.
And the demiurge wants all babies dead. That's the god.
The demiurge.
Yeah.
He said,
So
yeah. Yeah.
we would need to go with what is just justification to believe in the demiurge, right? What is the demiurge?
I have no reason to believe in this. You're the one who's saying that this is
perfect. Then you have
grounded
no
in a god.
justification, so I don't need to contend with you
The
because the
demiurge-
justification.
A justification is not the same as a reason. Huh? What?
Is a good
Can
reason to
give you-
believe.
A justification is not a good reason to believe in anything. Justification in and of itself has nothing to do. You're literally like making a moral argument with justification, I thought. Is that true?
Right.
There's no need to have justification for axioms.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Lethe's on the same
in
board
this
with me, so
case-
I'm like, I don't think that's correct. I'm pretty sure it's like only valid, but justification is the act of providing a valid reason, explanation, or defense for an action, showing it to be right or reasonable. It is not evidence. It is just showing a valid reason. So the argument's not even complete here, right? It's not good enough to fucking like go further. What the fuck?
We do because we're talking about
It's also
why
just defense, right? Like it's from a defensive position.
do you believe what you believe. So the justification of why do you believe what you believe is the necessary precondition. I believe what I believe because I believe in the transcendental argument. So they are
This dude really said that he did not make a transcendental argument at the end, so I'm very, very confused.
universal concepts that are rooted in a mind that is transcendental because of the nature of these concepts. They need a specific kind of mind because they have a specific kind of attributes, and they have to share them. So this mind that is transcendental needs to exist for these concepts to exist. Otherwise, I don't have access to such concepts. I just, in reality, all I have is subjectivism, and there is no such thing as something outside of my mind that I can appeal.
Okay, this is what we call. Lethe is recognizing that he doesn't even have to say a fucking word right now. This is when you realize that someone is literally just digging. They're just, there's literally no point to interrupt them. It might be, you know, fun if you can like pick a challenge here to like, if you know that it might be worth it. But the truth is that if it might be fun for you, but the real best option here, which is hard to do if you don't have discipline, right? He's just yapping, bro, and contradicting himself left and right. There's just no reason to talk.
To anything, right?
So you're using a circular argument and you can't demonstrate the
It's not a
subject of the
circular argument. The
It's
argument goes like
definitively a
this:
circular
there are
argument.
mind-dependent concepts. Okay, concepts are mind-dependent. Concepts that are mind-dependent. There are some concepts, that are mind-dependent that are not dependent upon my mind.
Okay, so let's say God exists. Right? Let's say God exists. Right? Let's just assume that moral facts, moral realism does exist as well, okay? Let's just assume tag is true. Okay? Let's not assume that the Bible is somehow like assumed to be literally true though. But all of the other things he's arguing for, we don't even need to include the Bible. God exists, tag is why he exists, and objective facts and moral facts exist, okay? How does this mean that you cannot be moral without God? Does that disprove? What if there's someone, a community, a civilization they haven't been evangelized yet. No one's ever told them about them. They do exist, by the way. And they discover this moral truth through moral relativism. And now they are literally acting morally without the knowledge of God, but it could still potentially be made entirely by God. But they would be acting morally without the knowledge of him. Okay? Now, maybe the argument there someone could say is, well, technically the prompt is God is necessary for the moral fact to exist. Fine. But I don't see how he's making any of what I just said because, we can accept parts of what he's saying. I'm like giving him extra credence here, right? What he's trying to say is, that God exists because of transcendental argument, but we can even accept that and then not say that, God created the moral facts. We could just say that, it makes sense to have an immaterial concept, I guess, in your idea, necessarily need to be inside of God's mind, but that doesn't really tell us how the moral fact became true at all. It doesn't even make any attempt to tell you why God's nature would satisfy the answer there. So, whatever he's doing right now doesn't even remotely come close to proving the prompt at all. Not even close.
An example of it is 2 + 2 = 4. If these concepts are transcendental and not dependent upon my mind, then a transcendental mind has to be necessary for this concept to exist. There's no circularity in it.
So you're telling me that you're grounding this concept in something that you can't demonstrate.
The concept has specific attributes, right?
So can you demonstrate its attributes?
Yes, 2 + 2 = 4. Is that universally true?
Yes.
Okay. Is it true in your mind?
Yes.
Does it have to be true in other minds
I've already debated him on religious topics.
that are not yours?
No.
Here comes the modal jump. No, because we think of thoughts and, concepts in our mind. So obviously we can now jump to the fucking foundational ideas of the universe with this. Obviously.
Wait, 2 + 2 doesn't have to be true in other minds that is not yours?
It's like he's acting as if 2 + 2 is somehow similar to the laws of logic right now. Very interesting. At least Eli was able to plagiarize the tag argument much better than this guy. Eli was able to sit there and read off, I'm using Van Til, but doesn't even know what Van Til is. He's able to be like, laws of logic, law of identity. But 2 + 2 = 4 is not axiomatic. It's kind of weird right now. I don't know why he's using that idea. You probably want to stick with the laws of logic ones. Those are at least stronger for his...
People's minds can be in conflict. I can't speak for other people's minds. I'm talking about what I'm saying.
Okay, so perfect. So 2 + 2 = 5 in my mind is perfectly reasonable and right, because it's my mind.
So demonstrate that this has to come from a mind.
Because you cannot have it's not objective. What is the object of 2?
We just learned about causal set theory. Also, 2 + 2 = 4 is not axiomatic. It is not evidently assumed. There is some underlying parts of 2 + 2 = 4, which you can call axiomatic, the proofs, right? But 2 + 2 = 4, if you look it up right now, is not an axiomatic statement or declaration. So I'm fucking just lost right now. Why is he acting like it is?
It's a
It's mind
definition.
dependent.
No, it's the way we classify objects. So
No, you
it
don't
is an
classify
objective
objects
fact.
like that. There is no object of 2. Unless you can show... Listen,
What is 2 other than a measurement of something? What is 2 meant to represent? 2 is meant to represent some geometry, some integer, right? Some numerical value or something. Wouldn't that have to map onto an object?
I will concede my whole argument if you can show me the object that is the concept of 2.
The word or the measurement?
No, that's not how that works. It's an objective fact. It's something that is not mind dependent, that one object and another object equals two
Yeah.
objects. This is a concept that we
No, that we're
use.
talking about the objects now, but the objects is a different concept at two. So
It's a measurement. So you'd have to be measuring something. Some geometry of sort.
I
Yes, the
want
object.
concept. I want you to show me the object, because we're talking about objective.
The math, the geometry of what you're trying to measure.
So something material.
You could literally measure a length of space time. And technically that would, you'd be measuring, you know, the non-Euclidean 4D fucking space-time XYZ, you know, technically it looks immaterial to us, but we do interact with it. Just because we can't fucking see it, you know, like a goddamn chair doesn't mean it. I don't know.
Okay, that is
I mean,
the
this is actually now a little bit more of a complex question that I'm willing to think that should be in this debate.
concept of two. For example, I
But
have a concept
That's not going to stop him from saying, yeah, but now it's in God's brain, isn't it?
of sun, right? Okay, if I point to the sun, that is
Oh my God.
the object of the sun.
Literally, he's like, my eyes can tell me stuff. See? See? Okay, well, your eyes can't really see an electron. We don't even know how to pinpoint where the electron exists, right? It exists in a superposition because shit. And then going even further than that, neutrinos we can't like point at and see, but we sure can see them when they fucking uniquely hit like this little reactive fucking, you know, stupid thing in 1,000 miles underground and salt. It literally goes through all physical matter. Emmett, human senses suck. We're literally retarded with senses. Okay, that's the whole point of chemistry and physics. Is that in philosophy, in a way, our senses cannot tell us these things. So we use other ways to measure these things because our senses do not have the capability. So pointing at the sun is just going to make you blind. Okay, it's just going to make you blind. Stop doing it.
Now I want you to do the same thing with two.
The sun is an objective fact. The classification of sun is not objective. It's subjective.
The concept, okay, the pointer.
So the numbers we're
concept
using
pointer
are
to The
subjective.
sun, the object. Okay, I have a two. The concept.
Dude, I'm starting to feel like this now, Lethe. Starting to feel like that, Lethe. Please help.
Point me to the object that is two.
That is.
I'm saying the way we classify the numbers is subjective. The
Perfect.
concept
Then it's
itself
not
is
objective. So
objective.
it's mind dependent.
Perfect.
No,
Dependent
math
upon the
is
mind of the subject.
He drinks his teeth. You're like. Hold on for this. Okay.
what
Okay,
you use
so
is a
if 2 plus-
classification system. So
I cannot describe. I don't know why, Lethe, but you have like the temperance, man, of just. It must be the delts, dude. You're just like.
we're using
Pointer
are
to the
subjective.
sun, the object. Okay, I have a two. The concept. Point me to the object that is two.
I'm saying the way we classify the numbers is subjective. The
Perfect.
concept
Then it's
itself
not
is
objective. So
objective.
it's mind dependent.
No,
Dependent
math
upon the
is
mind of the subject.
what
Okay,
you use
so
is a
if 2 plus-
classification system. So you're saying
I
2 isn't
agree.
the same in Roman numerals?
You're like,
I agree.
we go.
It is the same because we're talking about objects. We're trying to do word concept fallacy, which is not necessary.
you see, this is another time I can point out what not to do when you recognize a fallacy. And also, I don't really think Lethe is committing a fallacy. So when someone does this, they really are just trying to appeal to ignorance and just be the most insufferable fucking debate loser ever. It sounds kind of like, you know, that skit from that one comedian, right? Where you're like, actually, and then, you know, it's like, no, you're kicking that's a Texas Instrument. You're kicking my calculator. Stop kicking it. Like, it's just not, It's not stop, okay? If you think someone's committing a fallacy, you don't go, "You're committing a fallacy. Stop. No, 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 no." And then you better be damn sure that you actually explain it, because I don't even think Lethe needs to do this here, okay? But if it was like an appeal to ignorance scenario here, where he's trying to look and appeal to his audience's ignorance, right? Which is when, like, I know a lot of esoteric information, right? If I wanted to sound really convincing to people for some reason without trying to do what I would think for myself, I would say things like, you know, like in a transcendental argument, like when I mentioned Kant, they were thinking that I was doing an appeal to ignorance, where they were trying to point out that I'm just saying words that are esoteric or special or, you know, uniquely positioned inside of some subject to make people feel like I know what I'm talking about. And the ignorance is the people who are watching. And if they don't know any of the words I'm saying, it's really hard for them to evaluate them. But it sounds really convincing if I do it well, right? So the problem with that is that if Lethe, he has a few options here. I don't think he's going to do what I'm about to say, but if Lethe knows, you know, exactly what type of fallacy he's trying to say he's doing, and then can perfectly describe how that's not even close to a fallacy, it's not going to look very good. You know, there's no appeal to ignorance there if Lethe is like, did you just invoke, you know, like a shitty informal contextual fallacy, and we're talking about, you know, a subject thing here that's not contextual at all? Like, it's just not good.
Concept of 2 is 2 here, and it was 2 in the Romans. When you're talking about 2 plus 2 equals 4, if you say, in my mind it's true, but in your mind it doesn't have to be true, then in my mind, you know, I say 2 plus 2 equals 5 is perfectly reasonable and justified for me to say it, right? In your worldview.
So you have to understand, this is how we define objective reality. It itself is not objective. It is subjective, and how we chose to define it.
Yeah, so if it's only subjective, like I said, and I can say that, I can say exactly what I said, and I would be justified in my subjective mind. 2 plus 2 equals 5 is justified in my subjective mind because I say it, right? No, I'm asking you.
That's the system that we use, and that's the system you learn. You didn't come into this world knowing 2 plus 2.
It doesn't matter. 2 plus 2 equals 5 in my subjective mind, and it's justified because it's according to my mind.
Great. And then if 2 plus 2 is 5, you can demonstrate it. Then you can demonstrate it, correct?
No, I don't have to. Why would I have to do it? It's justified on my mind.
If you're using that as a classification system, it's not going to work out for you if you can't demonstrate it.
You don't have to demonstrate good. What is the demonstration of?
Then why are you acting like you can just uniquely, with your position, just transpose it perfectly into the immaterial mind of God and just call it a necessary condition for him?
Good.
The demonstration of good is subjective, and some people are going to think what one thing is good, and others will think it's bad.
2 plus 2 is subjective. 5 is okay with me because I say so.
Then congratulations.
But they're imperfect. You see how you don't have an access to what good is? You don't have an access to mathematics either. You just conceded to me that 2 plus 2 is 5. Sorry, you just conceded to me that 2 plus 2 equals 5 is complete.
Okay, Lethe, you know what I kind of want to do right now, man? I feel like something very fun right now. Okay, we're going to do it a little more interactive, okay? You know I love my whiteboard. Okay, I'll get it ready.
Justified in my worldview simply because it's subjective to me. So whatever I say that is good, even if you don't like it, it would be good because I say so. And the
that.
same thing would happen with evil.
No,
Anything
you
I say
said
about
you
evil would
think
be
2 plus
evil
2 is
because
5.
I say so.
You said 2 plus 2 is 5. I just said, okay,
I
if that's what you
did.
want to do. I'm saying demonstrate how you
Exactly.
got to that. I'm saying demonstrate how you got to that point.
Through my subjective experience.
Then congratulations, your subjective
Then
experience is flawed.
congratulations to you. You don't have access to good or evil. It's just whatever you prefer. So you need a God. You need a standard. You need something outside of you to say, hey, this is good. This is the good. Otherwise, it's just, it's 5. It's 11. It's 5,981. And it will be okay.
So wait a minute. So you're saying there's a mind that decides these things and they're concrete and universal, correct?
Yes.
So that mind decided it, correct?
That mind is the justification for it.
So
Right.
that would be inherently subjective, would it not?
It would be subjected to his mind. Yes.
Right. So that makes it subjective.
It would be objective to us
No, it
because we
wouldn't.
are not that mind, right?
But you're saying we have access to the subjectivity of that mind, which you have yet to demonstrate, but just going with your hypothetical,
Yeah.
we have
Well,
access
listen.
to what comes from that subjective mind.
We went directly to mathematics. I point out there are these concepts that are universal. We talk about them, and you went directly to absurdism because you had to concede that your worldview is absurd because you
didn't
think.
Let 2, okay, equal 3 bars. And the plus is a concatenation. 3 gaps. Then 2 plus 2 equals 5 gaps. Therefore, 2 plus 2 equals 5. Get fucked. Holy crap. Hey, you babe. Look at the gains, bro. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Holy fuck. This is so
Eat
that 2
anything.
plus 2 equals 5.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know
you
how you
did
got
because
there.
you said that it's fine. It's true.
No, I
If
said it's fine if
believe
that's
that
what
it's
you
2
want
I'm trying to get your delts, bro.
to
equals
think.
fine. Exactly, but you don't have any reason to tell me that I'm wrong.
No, I can just call you a moron and move on.
Perfect. I can just call you a moron and move on. There's
Right.
nothing in that case.
so-
There's nothing telling us if it's right or
wait.
wrong. There's no
wait.
universality.
No, what's the utility there?
It doesn't. Why are we adding utility?
Because if it doesn't have any utility, what's the point in it?
There are a lot of things that we don't have utils that you would consider to be necessary.
You're telling me what I consider to be necessary and what's not necessary?
Yes,
Hold
there's
on.
a lot of different things that are not
You have to
util
establish that
based that we consider to be necessary
No,
in
you have to
society
establish
even.
that first. So what I'm saying is, if a bunch of people think 2 plus 2 is 5, then
Mhm.
the utility that comes forward is they're going to get math wrong. They're not going to be able to function in society properly, and society is going to suffer.
Excuse me. Lethe. No. You're not gonna get math wrong, okay, Lethe? You would have to do this every time you fucking do anything though. Which is why it would be really annoying. You would have to be like, okay, so that means every time we want to try and use this, we'd have to substitute it. So every time you have 2 plus 2 equals 5 in any math, which we probably want to reduce this, right? We'd have to make this like x equals 2 plus 2. And then we do fuck. I mean, then it could be x equals 5, right? And then you'd have to do like, and z equals this anytime it comes up. And then for every fucking math problem you do, if you ever get, you know, this type of fucking, you'd have to substitute it in, you know, to whatever math problem you have. So that would suck ass and take forever. So doing elementary algebra would probably take a really long time and a lot of pages, more than what we already have to do.
From them being incorrect in that instance.
So you wouldn't be incorrect.
Is that bad?
It'd just be more likely that you'd be incorrect.
I would say it's bad. It's bad for human flourishing.
I would say it's good. So what? Right?
So can you elaborate on why it's good?
I like it. It's my subjective experience of good, since I like that.
Seriously, what? I'm trying to imagine like a basic quadratic like equation now, you know, with like if you accidentally have that fucking, you know, that fucking necessary concept in it, you just be like, oh god, the substitution in.
To be the good, and you have to agree with me that it's just subjective and there is no such thing as a universality of it, then in accordance to me, it will be good.
Do you understand the definition of good? Just wondering.
Go on, tell me the definition
It's God.
of good, let's say.
So something that
Very
possesses
nature.
desirable qualities, or is morally excellent, or is beneficial, pleasant, or satisfactory.
Morally excellent, so that presupposes that there's morality.
Okay. Technically, you don't have to presuppose that. He did say or, correct, Lethe? But we do love that he chose the one thing he thinks he can use in that definition to somehow like tweak. Because it sucks and it's lazy.
Morality exists, yes. There's no
Yeah.
presupposition.
Well, I would say that moral, yeah, exactly, right? And morality is what tells you what good or bad is. So at the end of the day, I would say that the good is
No. That is incorrect. Many ors, yeah. Morality is not what tells you or how doesn't tell you how or how you get good and bad, right? Morality is what is good and bad. Do we have another word for how we figure out the application of this? Everyone say it with me now. It's called ethics. Ethics is the how, morality is the what.
that which is in accordance to the nature of this being that has a transcendental mind, because he has
Oh,
the transcendental, okay, he has the actual authority. That will not be a fallacy of authority. He has the actual authority to tell you what is good or bad. And
you're
the way
presupposing
he
that,
tells you
that,
through his
that
being.
if what you're saying is the
Yeah, but
case,
you
you'd be able to
presuppose
demonstrate
utility.
it.
Oh my god, now he's like, no, you presuppose the presuppose, bro. I'm not presupposing shit, you're presupposing. You're presupposing.
I'm
Right.
not presupposing utility. Utility is the survival of a species or a society.
Okay, let's say that there
That's
is
demonstrable.
Correct.
yeah, let's say that there's the possibility that a baby being born right now is gonna
There's no way he's about to. Dude, stop hurting me.
be the next H-man.
What? H-Man? What is an H-Man? What is that, like a superhero? What the fuck is that?
Would it be a utility-based action to go on and delete all the babies so that H-Man 2.0 that's gonna be worse than H-Man 2.1? You know,
What if H-Man goes on to do the very opposite with the same framework? Isn't he acting morally? Is there a time limit on it? Can you act moral for a bit and then act immoral at some point? Wouldn't that still satisfy this fucking prompt? Plenty of people fucking fuck up in time, I guess, but what if this guy does the opposite? You know, because we're only getting one side of this hypothetical right now. Which, by the way, still doesn't work because God did literally do the sacrifice of his firstborn child every time. It's so dumb. But what if the guy acts morally with this system? Which wouldn't be that hard to do. In fact, it's probably likely because of the other evolutionary biology stuff and what Lethe said, where you probably wouldn't last long. So, it's like, do we not get that side, or?
Is deleted before he is able to rise to power.
What?
Mhm.
Mhm.
What's
Would
your
that be a
question?
good thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Unless you consider that the H-Man was inherently evil from birth.
No, I don't consider him to be inherently evil for birth.
Well, it's a very weird hypothetical. I'm just riding with it.
Are we talking about Hitler? I talked to him on Confluence's panel. Yeah, he didn't like that I was saying stuff that weren't like super negative about trans people. He was like, "Why? What the fuck, bro? You're being friends with the transies." And I'm like, "Dude, I literally don't even know a trans person." Pussy. Are we talking about Hitler, by the way?
For you, but I don't think people come into this world having
Mhm.
any moral compass or understanding of the world around them, and it's something they have to learn.
Okay, don't get me wrong. Does anyone know if Emmett has said something like this? I actually think that what Trump and Israel are doing in Gaza and Iran is just a fact of war. It is a casualty that is expected in war. Do we know if he's ever said anything like that? Because if he has, then he's going to be very contradictory. Just gonna throw that out there, man.
And it's an
Sure
emerging
seems a little
quality
consequentialist if he's okay with that one, eh?
that they gain
I'm
or
okay
don't.
with 188 school children being fucking, blown up. If it means that less terrorists are around, aka I'm okay with killing Hitler, if it means we get to save a bunch of Jews.
gain morals.
Wait, gain? Can you gain morals? Can you be?
Yes,
How do you
morals are
gain morals?
learned.
Does a baby know not to steal? Huh? What? Morals are the adaptation of morality. That would have no claim over the factuality of if the morality itself, the moral fact, is objective or not. Is he stupid? Saying you've adopted those morals is not the same as those never existed. What the fuck is going on?
Morals are
Well,
learned
from who?
through
Oh my
through
God. He's
experiences,
just like,
through teaching, through being in society, through seeing outcomes.
Through
You
the
have to have
collective?
there is no fairness. Dude, bad cramps. The United States put schools on their goddamn military bases. Every one of them. Multiple. Every single one. The ones in other countries. Germany, right now, my best friend is living in Germany on base with his kids. And they go to school on base. No, we put every single military, because they bring their wives and their family. There needs to be a school on the base. That's not uncommon. In fact, it's required almost. Like it's all military. It's all military on the base. I don't know why. No, it's fine. what we should not do is, you know, we're a pretty advanced military, man. We have the capacity. We do. We have the capacity to like double check before we send a $1.8 million fucking Tomahawk missile to go fucking blow up a fucking building. It's funny because Trump himself has like talked about this because he's stupid as fuck and he wants to like brag, right? So he'll be there and be like, have you seen a Tomahawk missile go? We can literally pinpoint a quarter from fucking 1,000 miles away. He lies, but you know, he's not like super wrong in the fact that I think it's like within 20 feet or a football field of like the standard deviation. I think it's less than that actually. I think it's like 20 feet for the Tomahawk. But the point is, before you launch a missile at a building, don't you think we should double check? We do not forgive. Well, I mean, we can forgive, but we don't let people get away with unintentionally killing people. That's what manslaughter is, man. If you drive a car super fast down a road, you know, where you're not supposed to, and you fucking kill someone, too bad. Don't drive fast. You killed someone. Suffer the consequences, right? Like that's kind of the same thing going on here. But the actual problem is we killed 188 little schoolgirls. I'm pretty comfortable saying that should never fucking happen. Literally, never. That should never fucking happen. That's not even remotely close to the possibility of what we are capable of as military. I'm sorry. Not even fucking remotely close. And trust me, we don't have air superiority or supremacy, but we have air superiority. We can absolutely make sure that it's not a school. No, he did. But not in this context. But he absolutely did. He's threatened it multiple times because he thinks it'll like fold the Iranian regime, but Iran is in the Mosaic doctrine right now. Iran does not have the ability to even make a play, like make a plan with us. I don't know why no one knows this, but when the supreme leader dies, Iran adopted this different Mosaic doctrine, like back in 2001. They become independent. Like, it wouldn't even matter if Tehran decided to try and make a deal with Trump. There's no guarantee that the rest of the 31 different fucking individual IRGC actions or factions would even go along with it. There is no guarantee. They're literally not communicating with each other now. This is why Iran did this, because they know they would lose a conventional war. So it's all very weird to me. Trump's like trying to pressure them into a deal by threatening their entire civilization, and you can't even guarantee any of this. Even if Tehran literally signed something, they're all independent now. That's how it works.
Experiences. Yes.
So the South in the 1800s, when they were doing things that you probably don't like, they were perfectly fine because they're more.
Did he just hit you with the "you're kind of black"? Was that like a subtle that you probably wouldn't like? You know, like, you know, when the South was doing stuff like probably enslaving you, Lethe, like.
Morality was that they could do it.
They considered it moral. A lot of people in society didn't consider it moral. And eventually the people that
Yeah.
didn't consider it moral outweighed the people that considered it moral.
So all you care about is force, right?
Yeah, like unironically. Like straight up. I'm surprised you kept your cool there. That was weird. That was so weird. I'm like, that was so weird, bro. The way he like framed it, like what, you know, that you probably wouldn't agree with, it was just like, what? Why didn't you just say slavery? Like slavery bad, right? Why do you have to personalize it? Weird.
I'm not saying this is about force. This is about opinion. I think without
It's not about
force, we could have
force
still gotten to
because
that same outcome.
the only reason why why they are not doing it right now
Is not because of force. The people who had the force, my friend, the people who had the force were the people who were doing the enslaving. The people who didn't have the force won. And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't through force. I mean, the Civil War obviously was like a forceful thing, but realistically, the type of slavery we're talking about, man, was won through a very long battle of attrition, not force, dude.
is because people with force
He's coming back, I think, before I don't know, August or something, but yeah, I talked to him about it.
to stop them. So all that is moral in reality is those who have power and can put up their preference upon
Is he just like fucking his own argument again? Is it not a tag argument now? Is it a force doctrine argument? What is happening?
society. Those will be the moral people, because whatever they say
No, I
is the
disagree with
moral.
you.
Is the moral.
No. Respecting chain of command is denying unlawful orders. That is a uniquely not uniquely, but a very American way to think about this. America, I actually have a positive outlook on America, okay? Now, I am aware of the fact that some people, okay, I can never convince. What was the unlawful order? Blowing up boats in the Caribbean when you have zero clue whether or not they're drug dealers, and then denying any investigation into them in international waters, and then literally blowing them up again after they were already blown up and people survived? What do you mean? Huh? What? Not after the fact. They don't need to show us the literal process of how they got info, but they could, prove by showing just the info, dude. Right? I'm pretty aware of it. The military doesn't just get a free pass on everything they want. That would be really bad, man. I don't want the state to have unilateral power over killing people because, oh, it's kind of secretive. That is not an argument, bro. No way. You're telling me that the intel itself is somehow like secret? So secret that, you decided to blow up a fucking boat, which most of the time, at least when it comes to drug mules, by the way, they're forced by, something like their family being taken hostage. They're not even wanting to drive the boat. What kind of moral failure are we doing there? Like, so in search of IQ, this is what I was getting at. I think the United States has been a pretty positive country militarily, even though that's a really wild claim for most people. No, it doesn't depend on that. If you're going to execute random people in international waters, then you bet your ass you better fucking be able to come to Congress and show why the fuck you did that. I'm sorry. That's just not okay. You know what I mean? Like that, come on. We are talking about, by the way, bad cramps. Do you have any idea where these boats were blown up? Do you know the average distance of a dinghy boat? Okay. I don't know, 15-footer? 20 to 30 miles. Wow. Okay. It can go a little bit further than that, depending on the dinghy. These boats like feasibly, okay, could never make it to America at all within any amount of time that is fucking remotely reasonable. So now I need you to understand something. We are executing people in international waters because maybe they were smuggling drugs between countries that are not ours and have no feasible chance of even coming to the US. Now think about this again. They're not upgraded that much, man. There's only so much room for fuel. Plus, they're packed full to the brim of cargo, if they were drug boats. So there's no feasible way that this boat is ever going to make it to the U.S. So is that cool? We're just executing people doing drug stuff in other countries, maybe? In international waters? Like, what the fuck are we doing? That is an unlawful order. Yeah, I know the Korean one. My point. The U.S. has uniquely had some, in my opinion, greater sense of like accountability. Again, are you telling me we're going to execute these people because of that? Venezuela doesn't have a drug trade like that. That's just a lie. And plus, Trump didn't even get rid of the person who's in charge of that. The vice president girl was the one running everything anyway. Now she's literally the leader, and Trump likes her. So Maduro, it's the same fucking regime. You know, like, come on. But my point, I think the U.S. has done a good job with accountability militarily, and I stand by that. I do, because even though it's committed horrible acts, it is, in my opinion, and historically at least, one that's actually taken accountability against its own in a lot of ways. And the problem here with me saying that, man, is that some person from Iraq who lived through like shock and awe can come into my chat and they can tell me I'm wrong, and there's not a fucking thing I can do about it. There is literally nothing I can do, in my opinion. That person is perfectly valid and probably right in their head. If they had to live through that, and let's say they lost like their family or something, that's just something I'm going to have to, something I have to live with. It's not something I can reconcile, even though I think that the United States has a overall positive impact. Because I also think it'd be impossible to be 100%, like just in this case. But I think the United States has been overly like a little more than what we see in history, more accountable. So, fuck you.
You'd have to
Why?
demonstrate that. You'd have to demonstrate that all moral actions are imposed by.
But there's also instances of the U.S. uniquely taking accountability and reprimanding, as well as jailing, punishing people for those crimes. So that's something that's hard to do when you are the person of force.
By force.
That is your argument. Your argument is
No, that's not my argument. You're saying it's my argument.
morals that are set up by society through the collective, and whatever the collective decides that is a moral thing is a moral thing.
May I ask you a question? If
Sure.
you're doing something that society deems immoral, would you have to be
Mhm.
forced to stop it?
Yes. You have two ways of forcing
Wow.
people, right? First,
Can we ask Emmett if he would stop God from sacrificing his only firstborn child? Is that an option? Is that an option? He said he would be forced to do it. It seems to me that he doesn't like it, at least. I don't know. These are the questions that keep me up at night.
First one is coercion. The second one is true restraint.
It
So you
sincerely
either are
sounds like
coerced into it by
whatever
saying
you. It
you're
sincerely
either
sounds like whatever
sorry.
you derive your morals from is morally abhorrent.
That is some next level shit, bro. That's how you get a promotion right there.
You can say that, but I mean that's your preference. So when
Dude, blessed in your story every morning because my super cool boss, don't name him though, my super cool boss gets me to be happy.
when
Bless.
you
It is.
yeah, there's two ways that morality deals with this, that society deals with this, right? One is coercion. So if you do this, you're gonna suffer X consequence, and the second one is you did
That is not.
this, thus X consequence is gonna happen to you.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a consequence.
But
That's a false
but there's
dichotomy.
nothing
That's
actually.
a
There's
false
not
dichotomy.
Good job.
actually anything.
Stop.
But
That's a
that's what
false
happens.
dichotomy.
Now this is one of the only moments where I think sane. Well, you don't actually say fallacy, right? So the false dichotomy thing is just the easiest way to describe it is what he just said. It's just pointed out. I mean, why are we, making two options here in elevating them to the same equality for no reason? Like, stop. You know what I mean? It's not how this exists in real life.
Isn't that what
Do this,
society does?
good
Isn't that
things happen. No.
what the system
Stop,
does?
stop, dude. You're forcing a false dichotomy. You can do a
Uh-huh.
thing, and there can be bad outcomes that come from it, from society. Someone may harm you. You may go to jail. Or
He's like, motherfucker, I can give you 60 million options.
you may do a thing, and you get a good outcome. And that reinforces what your moral compass is.
No, not when it comes to society. When it comes to society, is you know that if you're going to delete,
Is
Did he even listen
what
to you?
your moral compass is.
no, not when it comes to society. When it comes to society, is you know that if you're going to delete somebody,
Dude, everyone uses all this language, that's like careful. And I'm over here just like fucking Hitler, fucking. I'm like, do I need to control my language or what?
I'm trying to be
Am I gonna
careful
get
with
fucking
TOS.
slammer
That's
hammered
what
or
I'm
what?
talking this way, okay? But yeah, if you want to delete somebody, you know that there is the action that the police are gonna try to go to you, to your
Reckless.
house, take you, and put you in jail. So the coercion is don't do the deletion, or else if you do it, you're gonna go to jail.
And what you're telling me is
And the
nobody's
use
ever
of
been
force of the
convinced
society.
without.
So you can't be moral without punishment? As in, morality is determined by whether or not you think you're going to be punished? I love when people dig themselves into this take. This is okay. Weird kink, bro, but continue.
Force.
Yeah.
What you're telling me is without
What are you,
force,
Christy Gnome's fucking husband, man?
nobody has ever been convinced not to commit violence. Do you believe this to be true?
To coercion, right?
Convinced
Or
by one
to
means or another.
healing. The only other way I see people being convinced to not commit force, for example,
Why do we give a fuck about what you see? Huh? Dude, way to make this very obvious that you have zero clue how to think a little bit outside of yourself.
is through the appeal of something greater than they and have access to.
I'm sorry, you can see that? A minute ago, you were telling Lethe that good is not really, or sorry, constellations are fucking fake or something, or literal. I can't remember. And now you're over here like, I can see when someone appeals to a higher, like, in vivid detail. What do you have? Are you telepathic? What the fuck?
Moral standards that are outside of their own single-handedly mind. So they go through God.
Wow, that's an incredible ability, man.
They appeal to these ideas beyond themselves.
If I come up to you and ask you,
Mhm.
hey, if you don't steal that candy bar, I'll give you $100. Is that force?
It's coercion, right?
That's not a consequence, though. Ooh. God damn, Lethy. I was trying to think of a way to show that coercion doesn't have to be a consequence. But you just fucked him there because he said he thinks it's only consequential. That sounds like a benefit to me. Ooh. I'm very interested to see how he answers this, man.
Is that force?
No, I said there are different ways. That would be
I'm
coercion.
asking you if it's force. You can say yes or no.
I said no.
Okay.
No, it would be coercion.
So there are
No,
other
coma.
means.
It would be coercion.
So now he's changing the definition of coercion, isn't he? He said it's consequential only earlier.
So, but is it force?
No, it would be coercion.
Okay. So if it's not force, then apparently there are ways to get people to act morally in society without force.
Yeah,
And
through
it doesn't seem to.
it's usually through the use of force, through coercion.
Oh no. Oh no. Is that game over? Bro, he just ripped out the bottom of this house of cards, didn't he? Usually? Aren't you the moral fact man right now, dude? Usually. What is going on?
Or to appeals of higher good, or to something greater than them.
So when it's not usually that, then you can be moral without God?
Or in some cases, you can also say that there is like some kind of gift at the end.
I
you're
can
bribing
even.
them.
Incentive?
I can even. Excuse me. Concede.
Gift, like a physical object? What if it was something not material? What if it was like, if you don't steal this candy bar, I will put think about your name when I think of another next promotion. Is that a gift, even though it's immaterial?
That it could be sufficient that somebody would lean toward a higher power, but it's not necessary.
It is necessary.
Usually. He's literally all over the place. God damn, Lethy. He's contradicted himself now like 5 times in the past 2 minutes. I mean, coercion was only consequential. Now it's not. Force was the only thing that mattered. Now coercion might matter. But his definition is still wrong. And now he accepted a new definition without even realizing that he had a completely different definition. He moved from usually, which ultimately implies not necessary. So it's not enough for the necessary condition in the transcendental argument. And you've clearly just now demonstrated that that's the truth in this with that one question. And now he's back to, no, it is.
Because otherwise you have preferences. You don't have access to anything that is good.
Bro.
So what you're telling me is there's some force that is necessarily reinforcing moral actions?
No. What I'm saying is, in societally speaking, as society, the only way they have to say what moral is, they do it through force. So what they do.
He's contradicting himself again. Couldn't you have just taught? He already agreed to this, by the way. He just said that you were able to teach morality here about not stealing a candy bar by giving a gift of $100. He just admitted that that's not force. That's coercion. And now he's back to the only way society can teach morality is through force because he has no fucking clue what he's doing. It's an incentive, actually. It's not bribery. Right? There's nothing that the person who's giving the $100, they're not getting a benefit out of it. Bribery would have to be something where the person who's getting the money, okay, who's receiving the money would have to gain some form of political or economic advantage in some way because of their position.
Is they say, hey,
That's not a part
we
of this
agreed on
thought
this.
experiment.
If you do X thing that we consider to be bad,
It's just an incentive, a positive incentive. Think this: if you want to teach your dog to, not jump on the couch, and you give it a treat every time you see it not on the couch, right? Are you bribing your dog? No. You're not forced. You're not like doing what he thinks, which is take your dog outside and do a firing squad ritual on it. You're like, what if I incentivize my dog through something not forceful? Because we can. That's literally what Lethe
force
demonstrates.
against you. That's the way.
I mean, you could take your dog outside and do a firing squad ritual on it if you're fucking weird. I don't know.
do it through the societal standard.
Probably go
That's
to
the way
jail
that
by
you
force.
will come to the capacity of it. That's the only way you have. Okay, so all you care if there is such a thing as a God, something that is telling you or grounding the basics of what good or bad actually is. It's just preference, right? So you have a preference, and then you have a bunch of people who have different preference. And as an agent, what you want is to have as much people that agree with you, so that you can impose whatever preference of morality you have. But there's not actually something good or bad. It's just a thing that is preferred.
Yes, it is preferred that
Dude, Lethe, do I even need to finish this? I think this is kind of where I came in. This is just a waste of time now. He's just like dismissing the idea of good and bad, which they do exist in moral relativism. It's just he just doesn't know enough for this to be interesting anymore. He's not even arguing anything about the prompt at this moment. It's just like, he's just wrong, like foundationally, right? Where you just kind of go, what the fuck am I doing here now? Why am I here?
society function. It is preferred that we have
Be back.
people being able to
Yeah.
actualize themselves. It is preferred that people don't
Yeah,
steal
but
or
we don't-
kill for obvious
Yeah, but
reasons.
that is not the case. That is not the case right now. For example, as I mentioned, can I say abortion, horseradish?
Yes, this would be
Absolutely.
like I think the third time you've said it.
Okay.
Oh,
Just
say
I
Hitler.
just want to be sure because I don't know
Yeah.
Twitch. So yeah, if you go yeah, it's right now. For example, you talk about you want kids to be actualized, and we're deleting them in the womb. Don't care.
Okay, so may I ask what happens if you don't do the moral actions that this objective hypothetical being wants?
Well, you will be acting. You will be doing evil, right? You will be acting in
Then what happens?
disagreement with what good is.
Then what happens?
Well, what we normally see is, or if you go to my idea, it would be you would suffer through your own actions because you have free will. So you will suffer the consequences of not acting in accordance to his will.
That sounds pretty subjective, and that shows that people can act outside of their interests and go against their morals or the morals of society and suffer for it. But that doesn't show that this objective thing wants or doesn't want anything.
No, I think it would be very objective, right? To you, instead of you doing what you prefer instead of doing what is good, and you suffer the consequences of your stupid preferences because what you did is obviously wrong. Well, maybe not obviously, but it's wrong.
I mean, it's
So
supposed to be obvious
you would
if it's
be
objective.
having that you will be having the problems of acting that it's not in accordance to what is good.
So let's take an objective thing. So, like you've used the example of
Mhm.
the sun. The sun is an objective fact, right? The sun exists.
Yes.
Okay. So, in regards to this being, how do we know what it deems objectively moral?
In regards to that object, I would say that there's nothing moral about it. It's just an
I'm
object.
asking you what the necessary being, how do we know what it objectively states as moral?
Oh, you're asking about God? Well, I would say,
The Bible.
I'm asking
and I
about the
would,
necessary thing. If you say it's a
yeah,
God,
you're talking about God. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the sun. Yeah, if you're talking
the
about
sun doesn't
about
want anything.
God, what?
The sun doesn't want anything.
No, the sun is just an object. It has no morality on it. There's
I don't know, man. Some of them are pretty big. They might even be the alpha and the omega. Some of them are pretty big.
no morality attached to an object.
No morality attached to an object? Motherfucker, what is the Bible then?
So when it comes to God, because it doesn't have a mind. Anyway, when it comes to God,
What's the
it
bone?
would be whatever he wants, right?
I am gonna end my
the
stream
thing
in
that
like
is good is him because
3
he
minutes
is a
here, so.
being. And you, as a lesser being, don't actually have any right to tell him what good or bad is. In a sense, it would
But
be
how do we
absolutely
know
directed to
what
him.
it thinks is
Oh, through his
moral?
revelation. Yeah, through his revelation.
Through the Bible. Isn't the Bible an object? And also, the Bible is not the Word of God. The Bible is a revelation given, supposedly, to men who then tried to give us the revelation. But doesn't that mean that we still don't know what God thinks?
He loved you so much that he sent your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to be.
Oh God, we are not ending. There's no way, bro. There is no way we are ending with this guy not recognizing ironically for me, unironically for him, that the message was, I'm gonna sacrifice my firstborn child. And that's how we know what morality is, through God's head. Please, no. I can't do it, dude.
Revealed upon you so that you can
Oh,
have
well,
access
okay, so we're
to him
talking Christian
and
God.
partake on
Okay,
his
so Christian
energies.
God likes dead babies. So it's moral to kill babies, therefore abortion is good. Thank you. This ends my TED talk.
Wait, where you get that from?
The book. You're saying the morals come
What
from
book?
the book. The book kills a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
Matter of
Did
fact,
you read it?
by the second,
Did you read?
Did you read it, motherfucker? Did you? Again, God, he just said it in a really nice way. He's like, well, God, through revelation, okay? He gave us the revelation through the death of Jesus, right? Which is really, God sacrificed his firstborn child for the good of humanity.
second chapter of the book,
Did
he
you read
wipes
it?
out all the babies except for one family.
Sure. Did you read it?
Yes, I've read it all the way
Through
through,
your,
cover to
it was
cover.
your own interpretation. It was your
I feel you there, Lethe. That's a hard thing to do. Trust me.
interpretation.
You're telling me there wasn't a flood?
You start to really like tap out as soon as you get to like Samuel. You know what I mean? You're just like, how many fucking old prophetical books are there?
In that
It
book?
was your
The New
interpretation.
Testament's really fast.
No, it's the consensus interpretation from anybody that can read. Hey, there
Consensus.
was a global flood.
Okay. Yeah, so we believe in the consensus of the interpretation.
Is that true? Like specifically? I mean, Revelation is kind of a eerie. Or is Jude the last one or Revelation? I can't. One of them. Jesus Christ. Revelation, right? Yeah, it's Revelation. Oh, the Old Testament. Yeah, Revelation does say something like that, though. The end of Revelation is like anyone who fucking adds or takes from this book shall be like fucking their entire lineage will like suffer.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you for the sake
Notably, Trump though, Trump Bible adds his name, adds other texts to the Bible. Very biblical, I
of
guess.
this argument, do you believe there was a flood?
Mhm. It's irrelevant what I believe. I'm asking you a question. Is it your interpretation?
You're telling me the Christian Bible is the source of this morality. So the Bible and what it says,
The revelation is the source of the morality. And even in the revelation, you would not have, if you follow the revelation of it, you don't.
Okay, I'm following the revelation. The revelation is given through apostles, people. It's kind of antithetical to the idea that we know what God thinks if we are going to assume that these people are the same as God's thoughts, if you think about it. So I'm a little confused here.
don't have, once again, any you don't have any basis to say this is bad except your preferences.
so why
So
bother reading it?
when you say, oh my god, they killed everybody, okay, it means absolutely nothing.
Did he just make fun of the fact that, multiple times in many different prophetical kings books, okay, the slaughter of like, what the fuck? I guess the book's not so good in some parts, but or you can just literally fucking wag your, I'm not listening.
Because you interpreting it as good or bad has nothing to do with the fact that it was good, simply because you
Bro.
wanted to. Because
Wait. So it is just God's preference. It's good because he simply just wanted to kill the babies, and is it really an objective true fact, or is it just relativistically what God thinks is good?
he has the authority.
Yes.
And it doesn't
I've
matter
not
if you
seen-
don't like it.
So it's not an objective, moral, real fact, is it? In fact, he's not even doing the tag argument anymore, isn't he? It's not an independent or mind-independent fact anymore. It's not even an immaterial mind-independent fact. I guess now that could be put in the tag, but it sure sounds like it's just fucking God's preference. Why do we just like shift the burden of authority here away from Lethe, who Lethe's got better traps than anyone I've ever seen. That's pretty godly. And we're just giving it to God, who like has slaughtered babies. So I'm confused.
I
doesn't
haven't seen
matter if
anybody
you don't
run from
like
their
it.
source material so hard in my entire life.
I don't have to run for anything. The debate is whether
You
or
were
not
literally running
need
from it.
God. The
Was
debate is
there-
whether or not you need
so-
God, and you keep trying to make it about my religion or
Was
my
it
beliefs
ever
when it's about the
revealed to
belief
you?
system in and of itself. So the
It's
fact that,
about-
listen,
Not quite
you've
my
been running
tempo.
away from the fact that you don't have access to
not run
good or
from
evil,
anything.
and you have this kind of moral indignation. Oh my God, the baby.
You're rushing,
When you
you're
have,
rushing.
When your ideas of liberalism and subjectivism has just killed 60 million babies in about
Through
60
circular
years,
logic,
and
you're
it's going,
claiming
and
you
it's
have
getting
access
higher.
to something you can't demonstrate. Unless you can demonstrate it to me,
I
why should I
demonstrated
believe you have
logically.
access to anything?
Ding,
You
ding,
never
ding,
I
did.
ding.
demonstrated
That
logically.
never
Dude,
happened.
look at
That
horse.
never happened.
That's awesome the way he comes in now.
Demonstrated logically. You said that it was a circular argument. It wasn't. You have
And I'm
any
saying when
other
we got to the
problems with
end
the
of your
argument in and of
argument,
itself?
there was no God there. Sorry.
There was a God there. The God is the mind that is necessary in the argument. Do you have an actual problem with the argument itself?
You can't even tell me what God it is.
I don't need to.
All
Then why
right.
am I supposed to know?
For the-
It's
Wait, but how? What if it was the flying spaghetti monsters revelation? Wait, what if Lethe gave the revelation? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Subjective.
Listen, for this argument, I don't need to go on and tell you and give you all of the
I'm
revelation.
glad you
I just
think
need
that.
to get
You're
to the
just wrong.
Listen, all I need is to go.
Wait, you don't even need all the revelation? Is it a revelation then? What kind of revelation does he think it is? Am I like wrong on my what I think revelation means? It is the big reveal. Oh wait, in a religious context, it refers to divine truth or sacred reality revealed to humanity. Are you telling me you don't need all of the sacred divine truth and reality that was revealed? What? Dude, I only need part of that divine truth.
To the precondition that God is necessary for there to be a standard of good, or else it's just preference based. That's
Cool
all I
story,
need.
bro.
I mean, sounds like it's God's preference.
Cool story, bro.
All
Cool
right,
story.
all right,
I mean,
all right,
cool
all
story,
right,
bro.
all right. Let me jump in. So yeah.
Yeah, this is where I came in. Leafy, I think you did fine. I feel like not much. Maybe the opening, I think, against someone who was more diligent, probably could have targeted the moral relativist thing a little bit more. I don't know. I think it was fine, actually. The way you presented the moral relativist argument wasn't really incompatible with the prompt. So I'm thinking maybe if the prompt was different, then you probably wouldn't have done it that way. Yeah, just the nihilism thing, which also isn't wrong now I think about it, because you were anticipating the opponent's idea of nihilism, but you did learn something about nihilism today, so we'll just call that a day, okay? We'll just say that to win. Other than that, I mean, I think you did everything perfectly in this one, man. You didn't rush when you didn't need a rush. You didn't drag when you didn't need a drag. You were on tempo. The only person who is quite off tempo right now is Emmett here, man. He's like some lone trumpet in the back, just hitting random notes, I think. But I'm gonna end my stream here, guys. Hope everyone has a wonderful night. It's fun again. Been pretty fun in the chat and everything lately. And I hope you all have a wonderful night, okay? I have to get ready for work and, you know, do my, like, daily cry in the corner before I do that. And then, yeah. Like my girlfriend.